What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life. Today is April 15th, and we're back with another one after a kind of a bye week, potentially. Maybe for some, maybe not for some. But Yuli, how's it going, brother?
Going good. Chilling here in Kansas City, man. Getting ready for the big show this week. Played the course twice, but what about you? What are you up to, bub?
Well, I hit an all-time low as far as the last couple months. I'm officially now under 250 pounds. Officially.
Congratulations.
It was sad. There's been this has happened twice now after my ultimate frisbee career because obviously you can't really get overweight playing ultimate frisbee. So this happened twice now where I've basically gained a lot of weight and then have lost it. This I'm now doing it for a third time. And I just went back and looked at all my like details from the previous times. I started at this weight the previous times.
Oh, wow.
So I got big this time. I went
Oh,
all
man.
in. Yeah, I started at 250 both of the last two times. This time I started at 275. So um but I'm also doing it a little bit differently. In the past, I really was focusing on like high intensity workouts. So I was just trying to crush calories, right? Just trying to burn as
Yeah.
many calories as possible and having a huge caloric deficit. Where here I'm actually like heavily weightlifting. I'm doing a lot of resistance training, so I'm not losing scale wise. I'm not losing as much weight, but my rebody composition's happening. So I'm feeling good. The back's feeling better. I think tomorrow I'm going to go out and try to throw and see how it
Oh, all
feels.
right.
Yeah, so I'm going to go
I like that.
head of the course tomorrow. Give it a little throw. I might even film it. And shout out to our guy starting off the show right, Robert Charles, just gifted 5 foundation memberships. Shout out to Robert. Wow, way to start the show there.
Hi, babe.
We got a great show though tonight, Yuli. I'm really excited. We're gonna be getting Jeff Spring on here probably in the
Hmm.
next 5 to 10 minutes or so. He did shoot us an email after having Abigail on last week, and
Yeah.
you know he wanted to come on. Which hey, if we could have had them both on at the same time and been kind of like the what do they call that? Moderators.
Hmm.
That would have been great. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll have him on this week. We'll see what he has to say. I do have a couple questions as well that I would love to hear from him as well. Hopefully, crossing fingers, AB will be coming on, who just won the Go Throw event
Yeah.
that happened out at Eagles Crossing. So I would love to hear from him, just not even just about his win, but also about the event, the course, all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff like that. So hopefully he can come on. He does have a dinner going on right now. So he said if he does get any free time, he'll pop on. So we're hoping for that. We'll do a little Kansas City wide open preview. We'll make our picks for this week. And then we've got some listener questions to wrap it up. So it should be a good show. But how's it going out in Kansas City so far? How are you liking it? The weather, is it still a little chilly up there?
It was a little chilly today. It was. It was around 60 degrees probably all day, but it was windy. And so, it feels more like a little 50 ball out there. Flew in yesterday right around 4 o'clock. I got a late round in to see the track. And then we filmed the Jomez practice round this morning, which was one of I think we've done 3 live practice rounds now. And so we had about 110, 120 people out there, I
Live
think.
meaning like spectators
People,
are able to
yeah,
watch.
spectators. And so this was the biggest crowd by far. So shout out Kansas City if you're watching. Thanks for coming out. That was awesome. And I played with Calvin and Austin Turner. Germ's injured right now, so he just hosted. And we had a blast, man. And Kansas City showed up. And so I got to see the course again, and the course was playing pretty tough. It was windy and chilly, but dude, it's a sweet track, man.
Was Emporia, was that the only tournament that we used to have in Kansas?
Yeah, so there's been like a Q series here. There's been a silver series at this same course, and both times it went really well. Emporia's been awesome to everybody, the last how like decade. Like
Mhm.
Emporia's really showed out, and we had record-breaking amount of attendance out there, I think, from time to time. Just because of the amateur event and everybody going out, some of those bigger crowds. But I think I think this switch is a really good one to Kansas City because the community out here is incredible. It always has been. One of my first ever big events was the World Championships 2009. And I remember being like, dang, like Kansas City's the place to be. And it's definitely grown, and the people out here are incredible.
Yeah, I definitely saw chatter of people basically saying like Emporia's too far of a drive for a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like, come to Kansas City, come to Kansas City. And when they brought out that silver event last year, a lot of people showed up for a
Yeah.
silver event. So I'm not surprised that your biggest crowd for your live show, your live practice round was at Kansas City. You can really tell certain cities they have insane. Another one that jumps out to me is like Des Moines, right? You would never think that Des Moines would have a huge crowd or a lively crowd, but it's one of the best. It's one of the best crowds we play in front of all year. So shout out to Kansas City. Can't wait to see what you guys do this week. Because when the crowd's more involved, I mean, we're going to talk about the Masters a little bit later in the show, Yuli. When the crowd's more involved, it makes it so much more special.
Oh,
Like from a
absolutely.
player,
Absolutely.
from a spectator, from a person watching, it just makes the whole thing way better.
Well, I mean, if you think about like some of the most iconic moments like in disc golf history, big crowds.
Mm,
Even like 2021 when James won.
yeah,
Gigantic crowd there. It just
massive.
makes for bigger moments. Even every time there's a crazy moment at USDGC, it's just more electric. The 2014 Worlds in Portland, one of the bigger crowds that we've ever
Portland's
had
got good
ever.
crowds. Yeah.
And they had that crazy playoff with Paul and Ricky. And yeah, I think it brings out the best in an athlete. And
Hmm.
so when you have those big crowds, even on the second and third cards, when you have those crowds supporting those guys and not just the lead card, you're gonna have for sure better play.
Yeah, there's a couple holes that really jump out. We don't go there anymore, but Emporia Country Club was one of them. MVP, Maple Hill, Des Moines at Pickard, OTB also. Those courses, I might be leaving some out, but those courses, like, you're not just having people watch you and follow you your entire round. You're showing up to holes, and there's people already on those holes waiting for you. And so the crowds get even bigger on specific holes throughout the tournament. And I just think that's so cool. I think it just adds to it. And that only really happens at courses that have great holes to watch, and obviously big enough crowds to where some people are like, hey, I don't want to try to deal with the lead crowd. I'm just going to post up on this
Yeah.
hole and watch every group come through. So,
Well, I
uh,
mean, even back in the day, the Memorial was one of the bigger events of the entire season, and Fountain Hills, and then over at Vista, they had, you had Duke's, the bar right there in the shop, and people would just post up there and all around, and you can see like 5, 6 holes at a time. And
mm,
I think that definitely has a lot to do. It sucks though because some of our better holes are woodsy holes, and
yeah,
you don't get that same feel, and it's just kind of a different game as far as that goes.
a lot more challenging. Mike, do we got Jeff in the waiting room? If so, we can bring him on. Oh, all right, perfect. Jeff's
Oh,
here. All right,
Jeff.
Jeff Spring.
What's up,
Ladies and
fellas?
gentlemen. Hey, appreciate you jumping on tonight. So
Yeah,
yeah,
anytime.
last week, obviously, we had to discuss the Abigail situation that happened just because it was in the news. It was all over the place. We had to discuss it. We did not realize that she was actually going to be watching or listening. And, ultimately we're like, well, hey, if you're here, why don't you, instead of me and Yuli trying to explain what happened, why don't you explain what happened? So we got her side of the story, right? There's always two sides of the story. And I think, you reached out to us, which I appreciate. And we'd love to hear kind of now from you on, how it went down, or at least your communication and stuff from the Disc Golf Pro Tour side.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Always happy to join the show. I only reached out to share our statement, make sure that was, kind of being recognized out there, and to clarify with both of you guys and the foundation crew, the perspective that we had and released on the statement. It was mainly surrounding security, which is a very serious issue and we take very seriously. And there is extensive security planning for the event, and it was all in place. And mostly I wanted to come on and share that, answer any other questions, and point people to the statement that we did put out on it. Seth Munsey is our director of player performance, but also security, as well as safety. And at one point, with his pedigree with Disc Golf Strong, he was just doing player performance, but he's also been hired full time by the tour the last few years, and he's come on for safety and security. And so, he has 4 years in the military, 6 years running 911 calls on EMS. He also, since taking over security, is a member of the National Center for Spectator Sports Safety and Security. He's also certified as a senior leader in event security for spectator sports, in terms of safety and security. And like the list goes on, there's several other safety and security certifications through FEMA and NCS4 that he has. And he put together a really good safety plan. So I just wanted to highlight that. I've talked to players about that. I talked to the MCO team about that. I understand that, when Abigail arrived on site, she didn't necessarily, take that in. We did tell her in advance, exactly what the safety protocol was, and she did interact with Seth on site at the warm-up field. And, we're always happy to maybe go the extra mile. One of my takeaways is making sure that if there is a security concern, gets to me, gets to Seth, and we're able to, assure and maybe point out, the safety protocols that are in place to anyone who's concerned. So,
yeah. So what are some of the, because obviously Abigail kind of expressed when she was, when she made her protest, her safety concerns.
right.
We
Yeah.
also now have sports betting in disc golf, which adds, I think, another element of where maybe spectators might have a little bit more, money or skin in the game, right? So like, what are some of the protocols that are going through for both players and spectators when it comes to safety?
Yeah, so I can let you know that we always have a event safety team that Seth preps for months in advance. So the safety committee. So not only do we hire kind of insured, bonded security teams for each event, but we also plan with the local organizing committee for every event in advance, and add some more safety checkpoints throughout the course. We identify an event perimeter. We identify from parking all the way to warm up. So at the case of MCO, there's someone at the gate letting people into player parking. Then they can get
Did
to
you guys set up that protest too? That spot? Like, was that your stakes and rope?
Yeah. So in
Okay.
regards to the protest, we were contacted in advance,
Okay.
and we are, you know, we believe in free speech, so we set up a zone for people to be able to be on site and protest if they so choose. So we were in contact through the LOC and through our team with the planned protest, and we said, hey, you don't have to be across the street, you can be on site. Here's an area for you to be in if you want to do that. And it was near the entrance, and so that had a few people coming in and out, but we didn't want it to necessarily disrupt or make anyone uneasy, so we coordinated with that. And they were there to speak their mind. And the other thing about MCO that I just want to note, that is similar, like we always have these security plans, but with MCO, we were in touch with the Metro PD due to the security threat from the prior year. So the Metro PD came in, they brought in some surveillance equipment that was on site in the spectator entrance in the vendor area near, like also showing them hole one. They didn't, there's a discussion basically about presence, and that's why we had some plainclothes security, because you don't necessarily want to their advice was don't over necessarily do it visually per se, but they had surveillance, and we want athletes to not be necessarily feeling awkward on their playing card when there's security walking with the card. So that was established through the Metro PD. They had eyes in the sky is what they called it, and so they were monitoring the site. And this is all all things that we had in place. And, when Abigail asked, we did tell her. I know that maybe she on site didn't really recognize that and was nervous. And, next time we're going to try to make sure that when she arrives, like tell her, point things out, make
I
sure
was gonna
that
say,
it's clear.
Was the communication there? Just no one pointed and said like, "Hey, just letting you know, like this guy over here, he's going to be, he's our undercover security right now," just to give her a little more peace of mind. Was that just not communicated with her, even though that was there?
Yeah, like I said, one of the takeaways is if any player flags security concern, to make sure that you point the
Okay.
stuff out when they get there. Certainly, trying to take any lessons we can from it. But she also was cleared into the player lot upon arrival in the player warm up, and there is, as I think both of you guys know, usually a player only entrance, to the first tee. So that was cordoned off. She passed the volunteer gate. And then, she actually hadn't come out to a practice round prior. We had the day before was canceled. The course was closed. So she was picking up her credentials, and she was in contact with one of our staff members on getting her credentials. She hasn't been there this year. So she got her credentials then. So just clarifying that, I think at the end of the day, you want to make sure that anyone who has mentioned, concern is feeling comfortable. And so, we're trying to take away anything we can on that end. But I also wanted to clarify, because I think our staff prepared well, and she didn't go through the main entrance where there's bag checks, and there's bag checks at every Disc Golf Pro Tour event now through security for spectators, anyone else that is not a player. We have determined that we aren't going to bag check players' actual disc golf bags. So that's a note. But at the Nashville event, every spectator that came in through the entrance was bag checked, and then credentialed and got on site. So
yeah, I think this is a really tough situation, because obviously security is the top priority, but saying that too, the more security you add, obviously that comes with a fee. At a certain point in time, the local police or whatever are going to say, "Hey, we have what we think is enough security here."
Yeah.
And if that's maybe not enough, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of on you guys to almost. Is that how it works? That you almost have to pay for extra security at that point?
We do.
Like one officer.
Yeah. So the LOC and the Disc Golf Pro Tour both contribute part of our budgets to security budget. We also work with the destinations. Sometimes there's destination marketing organizations that give money or in-kind resources to events. Sometimes that can include security, off-duty police officers. But in terms of Seth's procedure, he definitely contacts all local authorities. Really, EMT is a big one, knowing, if there's any, security aside, if there's any like injury or emergency at the event, we have to have points identified where EMTs are coming in and out. We do, now since last year, we have upped our security budget, but that's been in place. We feel like it's at a level that, is sustainable. If we're at an event and local, authorities say, "Hey, we think you need to add more," we will work with them and try to understand any, specific concerns. But just like any professional sporting event, there, is some level of exposure. I mean, there are, like streakers, the people bust out onto the field and run at pro events, big pro events, like football games, baseball games, and of course, security chases them down and gets them out of there. But there's always risks, and you have to prepare appropriately. That's why Seth's been through some of these security training courses and certification courses, and we got a lot of faith in his preparation. And it's not just him or the event team. Like I said, that he's connecting with local police departments, EMTs, and making sure they're aware of what's going on. In fact, like it got onto we just got onto Ryan Hall's podcast, which is a pretty big weather podcast, where they even noted, "Hey, there's a disc golf event we've heard about." So we're not nothing, but we are on the smaller side of things.
Yeah.
Most metro areas do take note when we say, "Hey, we're going to have over 1,000 people here multiple days throughout the week and into the weekend," and they're cooperative and supportive, but it's not their top priority per se. So we have to take our own responsibility too.
Yeah. And just to kind of like this is where I just think it's so tough, because if you need to pay for your own security and because whatever the local government's doing isn't enough, now you're taking money potentially out of players payouts, which I think the players aren't going to like, but at the same time they want more security and not feel. So it's like a weird line to cross. But it is one of those things of where like we are so far away from like just a PGA Tour event, right? Like Tiger Woods has his own guy at the Players that has been, I want to say, he said he's maybe been like the last like 7 or 8 years. I want to say he was his basically private detail of where he's just walking behind Tiger 5 feet throughout the entire course. And it's the same cop every single year. We're not there yet, right? And also, like, we don't want to necessarily get to that point of where we need to have security out on every single hole. I mean, that's just gonna be a waste of money. But at the same time, it gets weird if something does happen, because then people are going to be like, well, we need more security. And it's like, it's not an easy line to figure out. Okay, when do we stop funding for safety, essentially, right? Because at a certain point you have to, because you'll go bankrupt. You'll spend all your money on safety protocols and you won't make any money. So
What about like from tournament to tournament? So you're saying that because of the prior year's events that you had the local PD involved, and so that's
Yeah,
like
like
just going to be a thing in Nashville. But what about like from tournament to
smugs.
tournament? Is it the same? Is it going to be the same procedure, same amount of security at every single event, or did that one actually have more security from your personal budget?
Yeah, in terms of the MCO this year, there was extra layer of connecting with the Metro PD, making sure that they were aware that we're returning. They were investigating last year's threat, and they decided to bring some extra surveillance on site. The standard plan is the same for all the events, which
Okay.
does include hiring security companies, making sure that there is a safety team combined with us, the LOC, and then local authorities that are all on the same page. And yeah, we have allocated enhanced funds to this since last year and are going to continue at that level. And we so far have a good track record, but we want to stay vigilant and be aware of any potential concerns. So if we identify anything else that is concerning, or we see anything that becomes kind of higher on the priority list, we're going to take action. But until then, yeah, we need to invest a certain baseline and make sure that that's in place. And I feel like the team did a good job at MCO, and we want to make sure that the communication to players, especially when they have a concern, is one notch above what it was for Abby.
Last thing I want to say about this situation, and I think it was actually the thing that caught my attention the most, and something I don't know if she, maybe she didn't express this in her Instagram posts and stuff like that, and so maybe that's why I didn't know about it. But she claimed that she had a phone conversation with someone from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. She wouldn't name who it was. And I guess during that phone call conversation, claimed that the person basically told her that she said something that was compelled speech, to the point where she, it's like what she say, Yuli? Was it a bannable offense or kick her out of the tournament or something? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, she just said that he was unhappy with her and kind of shut it down, like, hey, you're not allowed to misgender somebody, and that's against the rules type thing.
Yeah. So is that a new policy? And if so, where is that?
Yeah. Let me just address that, and then also just rehash kind of where we are. No, there is not any compelled speech in terms of policy. We have community guidelines that align with the PDGAs that basically say, that it's basically connected to tournament warnings, that there is no discrimination basically allowed at tournament events. And she had mentioned that maybe she didn't really remember the entire conversation. I talked to one of our ops staff, and just want to make clear that people can express what they feel, and there's not going to be a specific punishment of any type. what we are trying to ensure is that there's no bullying, harassment, or heckling, especially during play, from anyone, whether it's competitors or whether it's, fans on the course, on site or online. And that goes for everyone. It doesn't matter what your gender identity is. It doesn't matter, what you who you are, or or what your background is. If you're a player or if you're on site, we're just going to try to ensure that there's not heckling, again, bullying or harassment. And the intent there was, and I checked, was not to say that there's any discipline for what you're saying now. Was just a reminder that she was going to be playing on that card tomorrow, and that just be aware that don't come across in a way that is potentially going to be bullying, harassing, or heckling. And I have talked to our whole staff, and just making sure that we are aligned in saying that we're not trying to compel anyone's speech. People believe different things on both sides of the issue, and we truly believe that people like Abby should be able to kind of say what they think, and be able to protest if they wish. I emailed Abby, tried to call Abby and tell her that we support her right to say what she thinks and she feels. And I clarified that really quickly after I heard about the protest she made, and she's facing no repercussions or punishment because of that. So I'm happy to give a little clarity there, and just let folks know and players know that there's no repercussions there when things reach a line that is bullying, harassment, or heckling. Like if any player, for any reason, any identity, religion, race, any of that, gets to a place where bullying, harassment, or heckling, we're going to try to make sure that there's a professional environment on the card. And so I think a little bit of that is lost in translation. I think if you look at the internet, this is a high emotion issue, and things can get a little lost. So, it's certainly not what the intent was. And I'm happy to clarify that. And then going backwards a little bit, I just want to clarify to the audience, in 2023, we had a different policy in place that we fought to keep in place in terms of, gender eligibility. And it created a series of lawsuits that resulted in a settlement via the PDGA on those cases. And that's that's in place to the end of this year, right? So, that settlement means that the gender eligibility policy that's in place is going to be in place unless there's a change in local, state, federal law, IOC policy. And just because we're compelled to follow state law. So, in this instance, we are kind of just doing our best to understand state and federal law. And I just want to be clear that no executive orders that have come down have changed that, right? So the state and federal laws that we're following will continue to govern, the policy for the time being. And it's I think that with the policy in place as it is, we're all doing our best to make sure that the playing field is fair for everybody, is a welcoming space for everybody. And that's kind of a tricky thing in this day and age, but that's our intent and our goal.
Yeah, I mean, the security issue, not one that I'm envious of you having. This issue is another one that I'm not, because like you said, I think the majority of us, I would hope at least the majority of us at this point in life, we know what words probably shouldn't be said that are like racist words, right? And it's like, if you say that, probably going to be disciplinary action for it. Where here it is a little bit more of a gray area, because sure, do some people try to weaponize the misgendering, right, of someone? Of course, I'm sure some people use it in a way to try to get under people's skins or try to get people going. But then there's also some people that are just simply like, that leaf is green. Me calling that leaf is green, you're trying to tell me to call that leaf red. I'm not going to call that leaf red. I'm going to call that leaf green. So it's not an easy situation by any means.
Well, and that's where we just want to, leave that to the social
you're trying
element
to
of things,
you're
right?
trying to have it
Right.
come from higher powers, and then once they decide what it is, then everyone kind
Well,
of has
in
to
terms
follow
of the
suit a little bit.
policy,
Yes.
in terms of the policy, like it is very unclear that in state and federal law that, the policy that was in place in 2023 could stand up, across legal framework. And so, we have a policy that we believe is legal in all states and federal areas. And if there's clarity one way or the other, we're going to be doing our best to understand and follow state law. So if people feel passionate about it, I would suggest, kind of appealing to their officials, on that, because it's not the Disc Golf Pro Tour that is in a position, or the PDGA that is in a position, to necessarily change those laws at this point in time, or change that policy. And again, no executive order has affected the tour in any way, right? That was for federally funded activities. So I think that's just something that I want people to understand. In terms of the other elements here, we're focused on competition. So enforcing the policies based on who's eligible to play. We follow the PDGA gender eligibility guidelines, and that is what determines who's eligible to play. If you're eligible to play, we just make sure that there's no harassment, bullying, and heckling on the course, right?
Sure.
And so that's what the intent is. It doesn't mean that in social spaces people can't have their opinions. And in this case, with the question about Abby, we've clarified that with our staff. We've clarified that, and we'll continue with players. But I'm happy to address it here too. So.
Is there enough mods out there to get the FPO live chat back on YouTube? Do we have enough? Do we have enough moderators to allow? Because that is a cool feature that you guys have, is the live chat. You get people to be able to interact. There's not that many disc golfers on Twitter,
Right.
So a lot of people are interacting in Discord and some other platforms. But what are the chances of getting FPO live chat back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would honestly check in with our social team on that, because I have not checked the pulse recently. We definitely want community engagement. It also boosts the algorithm when you have people chatting and engaging and more people jumping on. So I know it's a desire. I think that, we always want to focus on competition. So when it becomes a distraction to what people are watching, or, I think that, maybe it became, a little uncontrollable at certain times, it's an issue. But I probably will check in. It's a good time to maybe do it. Probably not a good time to reinstate it.
Yeah, probably gotta wait a little bit, but
right, exactly.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
All right, we'll let you go, but I do have one more question, because I am actually curious about this one before we go. A little bit more of a softball question for you, since we normally give you the tough ones over here. Have we seen an uptick in subscriptions, viewership with the gambling being involved now? Is that something that you can look at and see? Because let's be honest, Music City, hey, fine people of Nashville, I love you guys. It's not a premier event. It's not something that is going to get a crazy amount of a spike in viewership.
Yeah.
But did we see anything like that because of more people are skin in the game?
Yeah, Music City was up viewership wise by a good margin. I don't know that we've discerned that it's specifically from sports betting, because we've been on an upward trend in terms of viewership this year. I think every event was either slightly up or a good chunk up, 10-15% up. Same with on-site spectating this year. So, I think it's nice start to the year. And I think that you're right. It's kind of the first event, and it's going to maybe ramp up. I think by the time we get to some big events, we're expecting some good engagement. I can tell you that the initial reports on engagement in sports betting were ahead of what we were hoping for.
Oh, that's
great. So got off to a good start. And we'll see where it goes. It is kind of a pilot season. we're going to be onboarding more states, and that's something for your audience to know, is that, I think we're trying to get up towards about 20 states by the end of the year on like a DraftKings, say. And then of course, I think Underdog has been a good success because we're already, I think they're in 30 plus. So that's been a good kickoff as well. So yeah, we're hoping that it creates more opportunities for players as well. I know that, while they're covered individuals, they cannot bet on the sports, they can derive some sponsorship revenue and make some deals. And I think hopefully that'll be a success and help the players find a little bit more revenue out of the deal as well.
Love it. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. And good luck the rest of the season. I know you got your hands full this year, as always, but we wish you the best, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Spring from the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Disc Golf Network. Yeah, so it sounds like kind of a little bit maybe what we thought, miscommunication maybe, and a lot of times that seems to be the issue, but man, I mean,
in intense situations like that, it's going to happen. There's going to be miscommunication. It's just, when people, I wouldn't even say it was an argument, but when you're in an intense situation where things aren't going as planned, and especially fear-based, that's when things get said and people take it the wrong way, or people take it in a way that they weren't expecting, and then on both sides it can just get interrupted with I'm not going to say bad information, because I know both sides are telling their truth, and then everybody takes their opinion from that. So
well, the thing that's like sucks is, like, as a player, we always talk about how do we get these purses higher, right? How do we, person that wins the tournament, how do they get more and more money? How, we got to try to, because honestly, that's going to get better players to stay. It's going to continue to advance the sport. That's just how it works. And I could just imagine, like, you winning a tournament, Yuli, and you win 5K, and you being like, bro, I just won this big tournament. Why did I only get 5K? And like Jeff having to be like, yeah, we had to spend $50,000 on security. It's like, on one hand, you're like, okay, like, I'm glad like everyone was safe, but like, man, that's a lot of money going to security, right? But you're walking through the woods and you miss a putt and lose some money for a spectator, and he stabs you with a spork. I mean, it's just like at a certain point in time, it's that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's a weird line to like have to finally say, like, okay, we've spent enough money, we've done enough for security, we're not going to do anymore, right? So yeah. All right. I'm gonna see what AB's situation is. Any idea if tonight will work? We'll see that, but we'll go while we wait for to hear back from AB. Let's go to a little Kansas City Wide Open preview. So I was taking a peek. A lot of people, it looks like, Yuli, are kind of using last week being an off week, and this week being like a little bit more of a smaller tournament, right? It's not as prestigious. It's the first time that it's not a silver event. It looks like a lot of people kind of are skipping out on this one. Maybe not a lot, but a decent amount. Big notable names. Niklas, who's back-to-back winners. He's not there. He's back in Europe. Kristen Lott also not attending. Number one player for the FPO. Still a lot of big notable names going to be at this event. But just obviously two of the biggest players right now on the MPO and FPO side, I think scheduled this kind of when they looked at the schedule as, hey, this is a perfect time for me to head back to Europe. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the course? What were we looking at like over there?
I think it's one of the best we play.
Really?
I really do.
Wow.
It's that good. It's good. It's difficult. It's fair. There's two, in my opinion, horrible holes, but very spectator friendly. Very spectator friendly. And I know it's a small tournament now as far as the Pro Tour goes, but I think within the next couple of years, if they keep it here, it will be one of the premier tournaments that we have. I mean,
Wow.
rivaling some of the best because of the community here, because of I think it's a good enough course, and I think they have the land to be able to make it better and better and better with feedback. And it's got great potential, man.
One
I
course, correct?
one course, great
Okay.
potential, wooded, but it's the cool thing about this course is it's not like you're wooded for 4 or 5 holes in a row.
Okay.
You get to go into the woods, straight out of the woods, into the woods. Half the hole is going to be like gap shots out of the woods, and then you're wide open in a field throwing with your OB markers into like a tight green. Uh so very spectator friendly. And like I said, it's difficult. If the wind's down, it'll play easier, but I think the best round you're going to see is going to be right around that 10 under mark. 6 under would be fantastic, and you're going to see a lot of people over par at this course.
Love that.
Mhm.
Now, is it a course that needs the wind to struggle
No,
on?
no, no,
Love that.
no.
Hey, big shout out to Mad Dog. He's been a member for 24 months. He says KC has held multiple worlds, top tier disc golf community with 60 courses in town. Wow, 2 years. Mad Dog, thank you so much for the support, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah,
Obviously, if the wind's down, you might be able to see people dip into that double digits, and I
okay.
think people will do that. But I also think those same players m- might shoot the 10, and then they could have like a 2-3 under round, and it's not because it's fluky. It's
Sure.
because it's just difficult.
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna be looking forward to watching this event. There's a lot of events where, man, it is really hard to kind of get up to watch them and get excited to watch them because you're gonna expect. You're gonna expect the top guys to shoot 12, 14 birdies every round, and the winner is going to be 36, 40 under par in three 3-day event. But last year the winner was 9 under. Is that accurate? Was it a
Mhm.
2-day event though? 2-day.
No, it was a Q series, so I think it was 3.
3 rounds, 9 under. Ooh, Yuli, this is spicy. I like that.
Hmm.
I like that. I'm a big fan of that. That's awesome. So yeah, 3-day event. Um,
I
I
think yesterday I had 3 birdies. Didn't throw it out of bounds. I didn't have. I think I did throw it out of bounds on the last hole. I bogeyed the last hole, so I shot 2 under and felt really good about it.
mm,
So, but it's windy, and I think it's going to be windy through the
yeah.
weekend,
I mean, it's
and
you're
and some rain possibilities Friday and maybe Sunday, or maybe just Sunday
also
practice round or something. Might be.
Also, I don't want anyone to get offended because I know some people get offended. I believe it's actually technically in Liberty, Missouri.
It is, yes.
So shout out to all your Missourianites out there. You actually have, I know Kansas City's really close, but you have an event out there as well, Missouri. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. I think there really is mentally a difference when that fine line is even par and you're over here under, then you're over here over. I feel like there is mentally a much better, I mean, obviously with how the course plays, of course, but if you're sitting at 20 under and you have a couple bad holes and you go to 18, I don't think that's mentally as devastating as like if you're at 1 under and then you double and now you're at 1 over. I don't know. I like that. I like the
Yeah.
play around the even par way more than the median is up at like 20 under par, and
Yeah.
that's where everyone's bouncing
I
around.
think a 9 under is a pretty safe cash line.
Okay. I like
Three
that.
around a 3 around, I think you're going to be right around that cash line, and then I think it's going to get tighter and tighter because I don't think there's going to be a lot of people really blowing past. I mean, we play with the greatest disc golfers in the world. Somebody might have a weekend
Of
to
course.
where they just get everything. Of course, it's not like this thing has a ton of teeth where it's like, oh, I kick a tree with a good shot and I go out of bounds. It's a fair course, and so when you have a fair course, in my opinion, that's when scores can go really low. But I don't know. I think it's one of the tougher ones that we play. some of the toughest holes.
All right, I think it's time, Yuli. We are, for those that are interested, we are going to have, I believe, a separate show this week. So we're gonna test it out if you guys like it. So be prepared. It won't be live, it'll be pre-recorded, a separate show where we'll be talking about the betting lines. So be prepared for that. Also, Sunday is forecasted for 38-mile-per-hour wind gusts, Yuli. So
Yeah, and storms, possibly.
you better have your overstable discs. Isn't Kansas City in both Kansas and Missouri? Am I crazy? Or am I thinking of
it is. I don't know where the city lines is, but I know I'm pretty sure you're right. Kansas City
that's St.
has
Louis.
has a
that's
line.
St. Louis.
Really? There's a line that goes right.
Well, other people are saying I'm correct.
No, it's correct.
Yeah, Cincinnati's the same way, right? Cincinnati,
Yeah.
part of it is in
Yeah,
Ohio,
that's correct.
and
Yeah.
some of it's in
For sure. I looked at the line today. Kansas City's in both states.
You know, people come after my geography skills on here, man. You know, they keep me on my toes. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you all. Okay. So we're crushing these guys. We got 134 points. They got 78.8. But we need a big week, and our ringer is not playing this event. Kristen Tatar has just been an automatic point system for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to figure out an option here. So let's go FPO first, because I feel like we stay there. I feel like, Yuli, with you tell me, because you know the course better. I'm just gonna give you my feelings of who I think is the best, playing the best disc golf right now, but you tell me whether or not you think it's gonna work for this course. The two that jump out at me is Evelina and Holland. Holland, I think, is playing the best disc golf right now besides Kristen this year so far. But if wind is going to be a serious issue and putting's not going to matter, and you're telling me that it's a tough course and you got to throw accurately, I don't think Evelina's a terrible pick either. But I think we got to take one of them, one of those two.
We definitely have to take Holland.
You like locking Holland in?
I like Holland a lot.
Okay, so that leaves us with a $2 and a $1. I mean, is Silva playing in this event?
Sick.
It'd be silly. I don't think she is. She's not. Okay, so she's not playing. God.
Is Haley playing?
Haley is there. How'd she do at the last event? She got top 10.
Yeah, we're taking her.
Okay, we're taking Haley. I like that. Okay. And then our one. Do we just stick with Lucky? Like, Lucky's got to get us points. Like, the one time we don't pick her. Wait, is she in? Let me see. She's in the event. The one time we don't pick her, Yuli, is when she's going to like top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all right. So go ahead. Lock that in, Edwin. We're going Holland. We're going Haley. And we're going Lucky. All right. MPO side. Gannon won this event last year.
Whoa. Let's go back for a second. Now, what if we went, because we get, what do we get? $8?
We get 10 for FPO
10.
and MPO.
So
what if we went a 4 and a 4 for FPO?
Yeah, what if we went Ella and then we went Cat Merch and then we go with it?
The thing is like the thing. So this is what I don't hate that, but here's my thought. Holland is a for sure top 3. Like, I'll be shocked if she doesn't get top 3 in this event. Would you?
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if she didn't get top 3. So,
yeah. But I almost feel like I'd be shocked if Ella didn't.
Really?
At this event, it's going to be windy. She throws hard.
Yeah, you're not crazy. I mean, she got 4th at she won Supreme Flight. Open. She got 4th at Waco, 9th at Austin, and 7th at Music City. So, I mean, I guess without Kristen there, she's probably a lock also for a top 10. So, yeah, I mean, I guess our thoughts is, yeah, I don't actually hate it. I don't actually hate it. It just gives us more board to play
Yep.
with, having like, yeah, if you were to ask me who's going to finish ahead, Ella or Holland, Kat or Holland, it'd be tough for me to say for sure Holland's going to finish ahead of both of them.
Yeah.
Where Kristen, I would say yes. So,
Yeah, of course.
So, okay, I like that. Audible. Let's go. Ella, Kat, Haley.
Okay.
All right. Good audible. Good audible. We'll see if that kicks us in the butt here. Because even if Holland wins, Yuli, if Ella and Kat get like 2nd and 3rd, we're fine.
Yep.
So, okay. Let's see here. MPO. So Gannon won last year. Ricky's also here. Neither Ricky nor Gannon have won. We got to pick the winner. We got to figure out who's winning this tournament and got to pick the winner. Who is going to win this event? I'm gonna let you throw out some names first on who you think this, because like I'm just like looking at this. It's like, could I
Thinking
see
of the course, I think thinking of the course is really important here.
Like I could see AB winning. I could see Paul winning. I could see Calvin winning. I could see Ezra and Isaac winning. Isaac played incredible. Well, he didn't play that great at Eagles Crossing, but he had a really good finish at Music City, I believe. He started great, and I think he finished well.
I think again we stay away from the big 3.
Okay. Just more skin.
Yep, and then we go.
I mean, would be crazy to do 5 players. Oh, it says build 3. I was gonna say, what if we did 5 $2 players?
What if we went Ezra
Robinson? Okay.
Calvin.
I can see it. Kyle Klein.
You
got
Adam Hammis. Playing so good.
Okay, I mean you've seen him in person. I don't hate the Adam pick out of all those guys on the $2 line.
Or we could go.
The only one I would say is
Gannon's guaranteed points. We go Gannon, and then we go. Then we'd have to go.
Well, I think if you go Gannon, you're pretty much saying that you're going to only get points from 2 people, because getting a point from someone in the $1 is going to be tough. I almost like what you were saying. I think we got to put Paul in there. I think Paul is like Paul's like an auto top 10 right now. He's just playing that well. Until he proves that he's not getting top 10s, I think you got to put Paul in there.
Yeah. So let's go Paul, Calvin,
and then Adam. Okay. Lock it in. There we go. Paul, Calvin. This is the first time I will say this, Yuli. I don't feel confident going into it.
Well, I'm making the picks pretty much. So I mean, I still got Adam in there. I want Adam in there, and I feel confident about that.
I just think like maybe it's a little bit more of an unknown course for me, but it's just you're looking at that leaderboard.
Listen, I mean, I can read grip lock like the back of my hand. These are amateurs at best at picking, so they're going Gannon, they're going Holland.
And so we have a good counter.
So it's like here's my thought process. Do we go to the regular old blah blah blah, or do we really try to crush them? Because let's say we do pick the winner, and they pick Gannon.
They get points. We get
more.
Yeah.
But if we could keep. Here's the thing: we could do the thing and get Gannon and keep our lead all the way to the end. He's going to eventually win, and we're going to just keep I mean, we
Slowly
could
making points here and there.
Yeah, just slowly, or we could try to step on their throats.
Yeah, I think this week that's what we're doing. We're not picking a
Yeah.
single tier 1 person.
Yeah.
So we're 100% shooting for the fences, trying to
Yeah.
get potentially
Big parlay we're building here.
if we get 6 for 6 in the top 10, that would be insane.
Yeah, I think we're gonna, honestly.
That was insane. Last week we did the only person we missed was Lucky and Simon. So we got 4 out of the top 6 last week. So it's not bad.
Has Ezra missed the top 10?
No, he got 8th. Last week?
Ezra Robinson?
Yeah.
So he's top 10 every time. Right?
Yeah, he's very good.
Let's take Adam out of there and let's put Ezra in there.
No, Ezra's $4.
Yeah, so no, Adam's the how is Adam so cheap?
Yeah, Adams are $2. Edwin. So what Edwin's gonna do is every 5 weeks, he's going to adjust.
Shuffle them up.
So
okay, yeah, we're good.
Next time we see this, Yuli, Kristen is gonna be in a tier of her own. So that will maybe spice some things up in the future.
I like it. Yeah, I'm confident with what we did.
Oh, Ezra got 19th at Waco.
Okay. Yeah,
Gary
let's roll,
say,
baby.
so.
We're good.
Okay.
Calvin and Paul, how do you really? That's really good.
I know. That's what I think Paul's just playing really freaking good right now. So
yeah.
Okay. I think AB is going to be joining us here in a few. I don't want to go. I have one really fun segment that we're actually going to bring Mike and Gary on at the end, but I don't want to go on to that segment right now because I don't want to have to cut it short for when AB comes on. So I think we'll just do a couple listener questions until AB comes on, if that works with you.
Yeah.
So this guy wants to know, he says, I'll ask again. What do manufacturers do with signature series discs when a pro switches companies? Do they destroy them, wipe the stamp off, and remarket them? What do they do? I think this guy doesn't listen to the podcast every week because we definitely have answered this guy's question. But Yuli, do you have any intel of what happens to discs that are still on the shelves when someone is no longer with them?
I have no clue. I don't think I've answered this question.
I think they regrind them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would be the logical answer. They just regrind them and start over.
A lot of the plastic you can literally just regrind and melt down again and do it again. Okay, this is a really good question. Mike, you might have to come in here and answer this one as well. This is from Daniel. He says, do you think you could shoot under par at Idlewild with a baseball? In this case, hitting change equals finished hole.
No way.
I was thinking about it, right? Hole 1 is like 550 feet or 600 feet. Something like that. Like you can throw a baseball probably pretty easily 60 yards. Right? So that's 180 feet. So 180, 360, then you're talking 540. So that might be tough to par the first hole. Second hole would be really tough to par at Idlewild. Going over the water in 2.
You're never going to get the ball to stop, too, on the slope.
Oh, like throwing your upshot into number 2?
Yeah.
You would have to try to hopefully
hopefully
it hits like a tree or something.
No, you're shooting 20 over.
Hole 3 would be tough.
Maybe more than 20. Maybe like 50 over par or something.
Like think about hole 17.
Yeah,
I don't.
You might not get a birdie.
I don't think you could get a birdie. What hole could you birdie?
The little dinker across the valley, because you could throw it down to the bottom and then toss it in. The one that everybody Instagrams.
Oh, what about the little the one that has like an ace at every single tournament, the par 3. It's a little turnover backhand. Just try to get a nice bounce off of one of the trees and just have it roll down the hill. Yeah, I think Idlewild was not the right course to pick for this discussion. The more we think about it, the more impossible I think it is. I think we get absolutely crushed. Third base to first base is 127 feet. A competent baseball player can throw 300 plus feet. 70. That's 300. Am I doing that right? That's 100 yards, right? Am I crazy? Isn't 300 feet 100 yards?
Hmm.
Why do I feel like that's really far to throw a
A
baseball?
little farther. 100 yards is a little farther than 300 feet, but
How far do you think you could throw a baseball?
me?
Yeah,
Not far. Not far at all.
not 300 feet.
No. No.
Some
With
people are
rollout,
claiming
maybe
some of these people are claiming these people can throw baseballs really far.
they can, but I don't care how far you're going to throw it. You're not. No, you're not shooting under par at Idlewild.
Am
It's
I
a
crazy?
tiny
Can
ball.
I launch a baseball and I have no idea?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I can throw a football over 50 yards. So, like, I don't think I can throw a baseball that much farther.
Yeah, you can.
All right, maybe that's a future video. How far can I throw a baseball?
I mean, think about it like this. How far is the center field?
People were just saying like 300 is like center field to home plate.
There you go. Yeah, one hopping. They're one hopping or two hopping into a few yards off of that.
Yeah, those guys
grab
are
it.
ripping. Those guys are ripping the ball.
Yeah, yeah. But with rollout, it's rolling way farther than home base if nobody catches it.
Okay, fair enough. Good question though. I do like it. All right, let's see here. Bruce says it's obvious putting in ball golf creates more drama and thrill than disc golf putting. What do you think of adding more gimmicks and obstacles to disc golf putting greens to create more drama?
Like what they do at USDGC with like
Yeah, I wonder what he's considering gimmicks. I mean, I think one, like obviously I think that's one, right? Like limiting putting lanes depending on what side of the green you are. I think that's one. Obviously elevation, right? Having the basket elevated with rollaway potential. I think that's another one. I think having quicker greens would be also fascinating. So like really shaving down a side of the green. So if your disc lands on that side, it's going to slide, it's going to roll, it's not going to get caught up by a root or tall grass. That could make some putts a lot scarier. And then the other thing I would say that they could do too is like, this is where it's kind of tough because I don't know how much you want to do this to affect shots coming in, but a lot of players struggle when they don't have their normal putting stance. So like I talked about like moguls one time of making some like uneven stances around the putting. So like you're not just in your normal putting stance, your right foot's higher than your left or your left foot's higher than your right and you're kind of awkwardly positioned. Like I think that could challenge it. Do you got anything?
No, I think it's challenging enough, honestly. I think it's just that we have this theory of the circle being the green, and it's not. I think USDGC 17 is a really great example of creating drama because down the stretch, nobody's trying to put it on that little tiny spot where it is on the left, and they throw it to the right, and that's some of the best moments that we've had at the USDGC is Gannon making it from over there, and that's a long putt with a lot of drama. It takes a long time for it to get there, so it's in the air. You don't know what's going on. Macbeth, when he won, Kyle Klein went to the playoff with him. He made a massive putt from over there from about 60 feet. So
I think USDGC is an anomaly though, because if you go through the hole, if you go through the course, the beach hole, like that putt's terrifying.
Right. And so that's my point. You can do it. It's just that like the beach hole, the green is the beach. Like how or you know what I mean? How are we not thinking that that's actually where the green is? You hit that, it doesn't typically go anywhere. They do have those stupid bricks that sometimes you hit and that's so annoying. But yeah, I think our greens are just like
Too big.
That's not a circle. It's not a circle. The green, if we start designing a green to where you have to hit fatter part of the green and this place is over, and maybe that's what he's talking about, putting barriers up, which would be trees or whatever, in a place to where it looks nice. And we have it with the bamboo hole there. So where you're going through the green there. If you land short and I'm 40 feet, I have a way better shot than somebody who's right up against and closer to the edge, albeit that's not in the circle. Let's say it was. The person who's 40 feet back
Got no
actually
putts.
has a putt. The other guy has no putt. Therefore, that person hit the green and the other person didn't. And I it's mind-boggling. I brought this up to the Pro Tour before that we haven't changed this to make the greens bigger and smaller, and you can still have your circle one set. That's fine, but I think it'd be a more fascinating statistic.
I think 14's also a great hole for that because you've got the hay bales on the left. So if
Mhm.
you are trying to throw that forehand into that green, which it's going to probably land into the hillside, it's going to be it's a safer shot in the sense of the disc coming in, but it's dangerous because one, you can hold it out over hazard the whole time, but also those hay bales. Your disc might come in a little early and hit those hay bales and not come in. But the reason why players go for that shot on that hole is because leaving yourself that 40-footer on the right side of that basket or short of that basket, if you airball that putt, you're going into the hazard. And now you're at best getting a 4 on
I
that.
mean,
Or
18's a
yeah,
great green to where if you
18,
go
yeah,
past it and you're in the circle below the hole, you're telling me that's on the
terrifying.
green? That's not on the green. That's a
Yeah.
trick shot. You know what I mean? That's a trick shot to have enough power. The basket is this big compared to looking right at it because it's so elevated, so your mark's smaller. I mean, that's just the yeah.
Even
That's my
18 at Waco, that's a great green.
yeah.
Like we've seen a lot of people like really struggle closing out tournaments there because of how tough of that is. Of like, I mean,
Yeah.
we saw it with Adam. Like, if there's no water there, Yuli, if there's no hill that or slope that goes down the water, that putt on hole 18 for Adam is not as cool. It's just not
No. Nope.
because you're
No,
like,
and I would argue that he hit the green there. I think he was right at the precipice of where a
yeah,
green would be because outside of that, he's going to want almost to make a movement forward because the power's awkward. So you're
mhm.
not making your typical, smooth stroke. I don't know. That's just my opinion with
I
the
think
green.
too, I think in golf, they have to always work on slope, right? They always
Hmm.
have to try to figure out how the green's going to roll. Disc golf, I think our slope is height. I think that's what you have to do. I think it well, I'm just saying I don't think having a free throw essentially, right? The basket's staying the same height, like all the dimensions are the same. And so like a 27 footer is a 27 footer on every hole. I don't think that necessarily is the best way of going about it. I think you can do that different ways too. The basket doesn't necessarily have to be on a big pole or a big whatever. It could just have slopes around to where
Hmm.
if you're on this side of the basket, maybe it's level with the basket. And if you're on this side, you're putting uphill. Or if you're on this side, you're putting downhill. Like I think in golf, they have to always try to read the greens. I think in disc golf, if we constantly are just seeing putts that look exactly the same, you pull up the player, you pull up the basket, you put them in a different hole. You pull up the player, you pull up the basket, you put them in a different hole. It gets boring, right?
Yeah.
So show us a little bit more. Give us some more complex greens, and then players also have to adjust their putt. It's not a free
Yeah.
throw, right? So,
How about this idea? Listen to this. How about we just make a big hole and you have to roll the disc in?
they already have that. It's called foot golf.
No, you have to roll the disc in. That'd be hilarious. Talk about touch.
Like it has to roll. It can't.
Yeah, yeah.
It
It
can't
can't
hit the
it,
bottom
it
of the
can't
disc.
fly. But the putting stroke is just rolling it. That would actually be really fun.
That'd be
I
really
think.
hard too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally do that at that foot golf course out in
That would
Estonia.
be fun, actually.
Yeah, that'd be actually really fun. All right, this one's coming in from Jeff. He says, was reading a thread that claimed that in the pro game, the hyzer flip game is dead, and the force over flex game was the only way to be successful. Do you agree? And long term, is the force over more detrimental to the body?
Yeah, that sounds like one of my big opinions is the game's changed to where the flex is completely king.
Yeah.
Now you need both, just like some courses, require it to be hyzer out the hand and then raise up and then glide to get the distance. You have to have all the shots. But what happens is the course designers were in a wide open space for spectators typically now on the tour with out of bounds right and out of bounds left. That's what for some reason everybody thinks that that's what's going to make the game harder. And
Sure.
the players start developing ways to negate that. That's our job. And right now, the best way to negate that is having a very overstable disc on anhyzer over the OB on the right if you're a right-handed player, knowing that it's going to come back, because if you throw a hyzer flip, let's say down the right side, and it's windy, let's say a headwind, and you get the angle barely wrong, it lifts and it goes left, and what's left out of bounds. If you don't get it quite right and it turns over, it's hyzer flipping, therefore it's a flippier disc. If it gets over, the wind's going to take over and it's going to go right. And so why would you ever throw that? Yes, the flex is completely king right now.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't think that's going to change unless there are some like PDGA steps in, Disc Golf Pro Tour, someone steps in and basically limits the requirements or dimensions or
It would be
change.
easy. It would be an easy fix, honestly. All you would have to do is you would have to make your own obstacles, play some caddy corner. Is caddy corner a word? I always get corrected.
Yeah, that's a word. I've used that before.
Caddy corner to each other. Maybe it's not the right term. Anyway, one offsets the other, and then the flex shot. Let's say that this one's closer is a lot trickier with the
Yes.
mind and a tighter shot to fit that through there. Now the player has to throw hyzer flip there because it's the correct shot, and you're guaranteed kind of to hit the gap. It's a really easy way to do that.
Is that hole 17 at Des Moines? That tee shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can fit it through there, but all you're doing is you're taking 4 feet on both sides, and then now you're throwing the shot. So your accuracy is going to come down compared to somebody who hyzer flips it down there.
Yep.
And so if a course designer out there on the pro tour is listening to this, make some
caddy corner. Make some caddy corners. Get some categories going. All right. John says, kind of funny. Go throw coverage does not mention anything about the PDGA ratings or the PDGA, but in the intro showed number of career wins for each player. Germ talked about Ezra and Adam each having a win this year, but that Gannon did not, even though he won the first go throw event. So this is just, I think, going to be one of those weird situations of where, the Disc Golf Pro Tour doesn't have to worry about the go throw, right? The Disc Golf Pro Tour is king. They do their own thing, where the go throw. That'd be sweet. The GoPro Tour, if it was sponsored by GoPro. But the Go Throw Pro, geez. Maybe they need to change their name. Maybe that's the first thing they need to do. But yeah, it's gonna be tough because it's like, do you not recognize when someone's like having a great season on the Disc Golf Pro Tour? Like, don't you want to say like this is like the number one player in the world right now and he's playing our event?
I think it's really easy as a commentator to just say he has wins on the pro tour. Like if you're in Europe and you're playing on the European tour, you say, "Oh, he won at this course on the PGA tour." If you're playing it on the Asian tour, you can definitely mention, "Yes, this guy has a PGA event."
But Yuli, those are all those tours are together. They're all under the same umbrella.
What about like other tournaments, like smaller tournaments? Like you're still going to mention if somebody is
Yeah, I mean, a good
Like when you're in
example is
the
like the amateur that was out there playing that one.
they talk about their collegiate
He
titles
was talking
and
about
all that
collegiate and
stuff.
stuff.
Like it's
Yeah.
okay to say where you've won before.
Sure,
I
sure,
think that's not a problem.
sure. It's just
You should also say where you won that you had won a previous tournament on the same tour, though.
yeah,
That's
and
funny that they didn't mention
yeah,
that.
because I think the UFC does this a little bit, right, with some of the other fighting leagues. When someone comes over and signs with them, they clearly are going to build up that player as like this was the baddest person in Bellator, baddest person in the
Mhm.
PFL, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
One, but I think they do pretty quickly kind of cut that out and don't
Yeah,
really
once they get
promote
some
that once they get
statistics. Yeah.
locked in.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the same thing here. It's they're very new, and they definitely, for the casual viewers, and they are getting views. Yuli, I did look at some of their views. I mean, they're getting 6-figure views.
Yeah.
So people are watching it. All right, let's see here. Will you guys be wearing red jackets to class things up a bit? I didn't know what the heck that was asking, and then I saw. Have you seen the? I don't know
I
if
saw it.
I don't know if Mike can pull it up if he can find it, but the picture of these guys in red jackets was, let's just say, a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
This guy asked, "Is there any passion left in disc golf?" I don't really know what that question was. You got any passion left in disc golf?
Tons of passion. Passionate guy.
Here's a good question, and maybe while we're discussing this, he might pop on because he did just post a little clip of him playing basketball. Yuli, since the NBA playoffs are around the corner, this comes from our guy Joe. Since the NBA playoffs are around the corner, what 5 disc golfers would you and Yuli have be your pickup basketball starting 5? So pickup basketball starting 5. Who are you taking?
You gotta have a big
God. Oh gosh, there's the red jackets.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
What doesn't work is like the t-shirts under it. It's
Yeah,
like
that's all. And the hats are
hats.
But then they have one with like cowboy hat. Germ's wearing like a cowboy hat with it.
Germ with the cow. Are they also wearing the cowboy tie? Is that the bolo? Is that what that's called? Bolo?
No, they just have necklaces on.
No, I think that's
No, it's just a necklace.
Oh yeah, those are just necklaces. Okay. They all have like the same kind of necklace. Very strange. All right. Rock necklaces. Dark horse. That's even more dark horse. All right, who are you taking? Who are you taking for your top 5?
Man, not a lot of people to take.
Starting five.
Yeah, not a lot of people to choose from. I guess Connor O'Reilly.
What does that mean? Not a lot of people to choose from. You got like 100. You got like over 100 people.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
get
lot
what I mean. Like to where I'm like, oh, that's a basketball player. Like what?
Were you just calling a bunch of people unathletic?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, Connor O'Reilly. That's a good pick. I would also pick Connor O'Reilly on my team.
I think Tristan Tanner's got some ball skills.
I could see it. I don't know if he'd be my top 5, but I could see it. Because again, here's the thing. It's I don't think Tristan's one to do this, but disc golfers are notorious for claiming to be very good at something, but they're good at it for a disc golfer. So like they're good at it.
That's what we're saying here, though. That's exactly what we're doing.
No. We're
picking for a disc golfer who is the best basketball player.
No, no. What I'm saying is these guys are playing.
Oh, they're saying, yeah, I'm really good.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like someone might say, like, "Oh, I'm really good at this sport," but they're saying really good in comparison to like other disc golfers, not really good in comparison to like athletes.
I'm gonna take Marweed. I know he played a little college ball. He also coached a little.
That was gonna be my sneaky pick. So me and you have the same team, but Tristan, I don't have Tristan on my team yet. I don't have Tristan on my team. So I might go Tristan, but I don't have it. I have Marweed and and Connor, both on my team. Someone just said Emerson
Man.
Keith. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Get out of here with that. Marweed and Connor for sure.
Gosh, so we got 3. I need 2 more.
I've got one that I don't even know if he's good, but I know that he would be good for my system, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I need somebody that
But I don't
I've
want to.
seen a couple people shoot before too. Silas Schultz, a bigger kid, and I think he's fast, and I know he plays.
So you're gonna take Silas. All right.
Yeah.
We'll have chat decide who wins this game. Your 5 versus my 5. So far, Yuli has Connor O'Reilly. You have Marweed. You have Tristan Tanner, and
Tristan's gonna be my ball handler, I think.
And you have Silas. All right.
And
so far have Connor, Marweed, and I'm not telling you my secret weapon.
Yeah. I've played with AB before. He's got a lot of height. He's got a good turnaround jumper. Basketball player, though, like in game, no back on D. I'm pretty sure I'd absolutely kill him in a
Does
one-on-one.
Eagle have any game? Do not pick Eagle right now.
No,
Do
no,
not.
no. I'm gonna pick AB just for the size. I'm getting a lot of rebounds out there.
You're going AB. Wow. All right. So your starting 5 is Connor O'Reilly.
Yep.
Marweed. Tristan Tanner.
Yeah.
Silas Schultz.
I'm kicking Silas out. Silas, sorry, bud, you're out, and I'm putting in Kale Lavisca. He's 40, but the guy can ball. He's handling the ball. I've seen him play. He can handle the ball.
Okay.
He's not giving up any. He's quicker. He's a good shooter. Solid basketball player. Might be the best out of my 5.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I'm going Connor O'Reilly and Marweed. So that's a wash. Those 2 guys together. I'm going someone that I think is like one of the more athletic people on tour, and I think would just be a really good ball defender. Also, someone that's not going to get tired because I don't know about some of these guys' stamina. I'm going Kevin Jones. I think Kevin Jones might be a really good defender and really good at least rebounding.
I've played with him before.
Hustle. I think he's just going to be a hustle player. I don't think he's going to take a single shot. And I'm completely fine with
that's great. That's great. Yeah, that's good.
And then I'm going to go, gosh, I'm between 2 people for my 4th pick.
And pick them both.
No, because I have my 5th pick's already locked in. I'm not changing my 5th pick.
Okay.
I'm between Albert Tam and Gavin Rathbun. I'm going to go Albert Tam. I think that's my power forward.
It's a great pick.
I think it's my power forward.
He plays a little ball too.
I think he probably has a little bit of touch, but I think he's going to be a rebounding machine. He's going to be a real problem for some people. And then I'm picking myself.
You're picking yourself? I didn't know we were allowed to do that.
You can pick yourself too.
I thought we were like coaching this team.
I can coach it and play. What the heck?
Oh, fine. Yeah, I'll pick myself, and I'm getting rid of.
I've been like shooting every day for like an hour. I'm getting back to my nastiness. I'm gonna dunk by the end of the year. That's my goal. I want to dunk again by the end of the year.
What?
What do you mean?
You're gonna dunk
again? Yeah. What the heck?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be selfish and put myself in, but
no, take someone out. Take someone out. Take someone out.
I can't do it. I'm leaving them in.
All right. Who are you guys?
I do play quite a bit.
Let's do. Let me throw a poll up. Let me see if I can do that. Actually, can I do that? Oh, I can. All right. Who is winning? Sorry for all our listeners. You guys are missing out. All the live people can vote, but all of our listeners aren't. All right, we'll see. I'll read it off again. We've got Connor, Marweed, Tristan, Kale, and AB versus Albert Tam, Kevin Jones, Marweed, Connor, and myself.
My team's winning for sure. And here's the thing: we could actually get you guys to play a game. So like 12.
I don't know, man. I like my team a lot.
I love my team.
Because, like, to me, I'm just looking at it. Marweed and Connor cancel themselves out. Kevin Jones guards Kale LaVisca. That's fine. Albert.
He'll absolutely cook Kevin.
What?
Gale's gonna absolutely cook Kevin.
Okay, then
That's-
I'll guard him. That's fine.
And he'll cook you. It won't even. You
What
would not
do you
be
mean
able
he'll cook me?
He'll cook you.
How is he cooking me?
I'm just saying. You're not guarding Kale. It's just not gonna happen.
How am I not guarding Kale?
You're not fast enough. He's faster than you.
Like right now with me being fat, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just
Or like when I'm like 215 pounds in 3 months.
Well, it's a right now thing, isn't it?
That's what I was asking. I was saying he's gonna
Yeah,
cook me right now when I'm fat.
Yeah, you want to go train and so you can try to guard Kale. You be my guest, but if you guys played right now, he's by you so fast.
I still like my chances. I think you're underestimating me. Very, very, very,
I
very.
don't think so.
I played a lot of basketball back in my day. The only people that like I think probably played more organized basketball than me is maybe Connor and Marweed. But I kind of stopped playing organized basketball and just did more like pickup stuff. But
yeah,
it would be a great game. It'd never be
Yeah.
able to happen because we both have the same people on our team. What we'd have to do is we'd have to like coin flip for who gets Connor and who gets Marweed. And then we'd each have to pick. You could put yourself in there for whoever you don't get. And then I'll put
I'll guard you.
And then I'll put
That's
Gavin
easy.
Rathbun in there.
Easy lockdown.
I mean, here's the thing. 3 months from now, I'm dunking in this game.
You're not ever dunking in a game, dude.
What do you mean I'm never dunking in a game?
What are you gonna get a fast break? Nobody around. You're just gonna fly over Kevin and just rock it? You think? What are you? John Moran? What are you talking about right now?
All right, put up.
Yes, I believe you could jump up and dunk it.
Put up my tip slam. I want to throw my highlight up there. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. We did a way back in the day. I don't even know if this is still on the internet. Let's see. Way back in the day, I did when I was teaching, we did a teachers versus I don't even know where it is, but we did a teachers versus students game, like against the basketball team. And like within the first like 8 minutes, one of the guys threw me an alley-oop and I just freaking rocketed down. And everyone was like, what?
Yeah, and you think that's gonna happen again?
I don't know if someone's throwing me an alley-oop, but I would dunk on someone. If we set this up, like if we said 3 months might be a little quick, but if we said 6 months, we're going to play a disc golf basketball game. You think I'm going to show up not prepared?
I don't think you're going to dunk on somebody. No.
Edwin just says he has the video. So I don't know how Edwin has it, but somehow Edwin has the video.
I just don't feel like you're going to dunk on people, dude. I believe you have. But I just don't. I want you to. I want to see you just fly up on Marweed and just rock him. Like that would be incredible. But that is a hard. It's a hard thing for me to imagine.
I'd like to think 6 months from now. Oh, here we go. Oh, Dark Horse. Edwin's got the video.
You think you're gonna do that same thing again?
I don't know.
2 knee surgeries on both legs in, dude.
I don't know if it'll be the same exact thing as that. Sam
I
says
like
8-foot goal, 8-foot basketball. I don't know. I mean, I don't have to jump all that high to dunk.
I know, but like, it takes a pretty good move to get up there and dunk on somebody who's guarding you.
Gosh, it would be fun. I'm just
who's
saying,
gonna alley-oop it to you? Who on your team has
no?
the
It wouldn't be an
skills?
out. That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be an alley-oop. It would be off the dribble. It would have to be 100% off the dribble.
Can you like just get like back your way in and get up and jam it like on a 2-foot jump, like off both feet?
I'm
actually
like that. I'm actually a 1-foot jumper.
Okay,
Never-
so if you
never
back
been
somebody
into-
down, like say,
I wouldn't be backing down. It would literally be
I
me
know.
driving to the basket.
No, I'm saying, okay, yeah, you're not dunking on anybody.
Well, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna like spin move off of someone and go up. And
That's what
dunk
I
it.
was thinking.
No,
I
no,
was
no.
thinking
I
maybe
would
that
have to. No, I would have to like get momentum.
fast break.
Yeah, or like a crossover.
I don't even
something.
want to see you try. I don't want to see you get hurt. I'm worried about you. I'm worried about this game now and my players.
Not if you give me 6 months. I'm also holding on to the rim and waiting for Connor to come over and grab me and lower me down.
Maybe Albert.
So I don't have to worry about the landing. I can just focus on the going up part.
Albert's a problem. I didn't think of him. He's an absolute problem.
Yeah, he's
and
a
if I could
big
take
body.
him too, I would definitely take somebody out of my
He's a
starting line.
big body. Yeah. It would be fun though. This one, people throw out like, oh, like what if there was like an ultimate frisbee game with disc golf? Like that wouldn't be fun. That would be
No.
that would be a slaughter. All right. That would not be fun. That would be a slaughter. No one would want to watch that. But this could be somewhat competitive potentially. This could be somewhat
think so.
competitive.
Oh, there. That's you.
That's it. There it is. Same thing, baby. Same thing. Oh man, that's too funny. All right. AB says, I think AB might be in. AB's in the house. All right, let's bring him in. Let's see what he has to say.
Sir.
AB, okay, we just were talking about this. One of the questions from our listeners wanted to know top 5 basketball players. And you just posted
players.
you just posted a little clip. So like, who are you picking for your top 5 if you're running 5s at like a local pickup?
If I'm running 5s, I got Yuli in there for sure. He's a facilitator.
Yuli. Oh, let's go.
He led our team to a couple dubs when we would play some pickup games with Ricky. I'd put probably Germ. I've never really seen him play a lot, but I've heard he's really good. And then I'll take Connor O'Reilly. He's pretty good.
Okay.
5th, I don't know.
Well, you only have 3 people.
Tristan Tanner. He played. I thought.
Wait,
I'm the 5th.
You're the 5th. Okay. All right.
Did I get cut out?
No. You're a little spotty on the audio. It's coming in and out a little bit. Are you on the Wi-Fi potentially?
Yes, I am. Is it better if I just hold it?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. It might be a phone situation. You're not cutting it out anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. That's not a bad team. That's not a bad team. One person that you are forgetting that we both had on our team was Marweed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Marweed.
And
Albert
Tam.
Did he play college ball?
Albert Tam is.
And I had Albert on my team as well.
Yep, gotta have a big body.
And then I went dark horse Kevin Jones just as like a defensive menace on someone, just to get in someone's face. Could he get crossed over badly? Potentially, and that could be a liability. But that's one that I'm willing to take. So, all right, I got 6 months, Yuli. I'm going to train hard. 6 months. We'll see what happens.
Hey, before we go any farther, Brodie said he's. Oh my gosh, Brodie said this. He said, in 6 months in the game, he would dunk for sure.
I would dunk on someone.
Dunk?
That's a wild statement. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know why you guys think that's a wild statement.
Oh wait, what?
That would be. I want to see it. It would be great.
Didn't you get like double knee replacements?
You guys say that though, but like you can train back from that. Like you could train to jump. Like I was if I wanted to make a comeback to ultimate, I could if I wanted to. It would be scary. I'm not saying too that like I would literally dunk just to say I did, and then potentially have to pull myself out of the game. But that is a goal of mine. I am by the end of the year, Yuli, I will have a video of me dunking again, and I'll send it to you personally.
On somebody.
No, this isn't on someone. That's
a little different.
This isn't on someone. This is just me sending it to you. That's a goal of mine. Okay, AB, let's talk about it. Tournament just went down. I guess my first question, this is your first event with Go Throw. So overall, like, what were your thoughts on the event?
Maybe take yourself off of the Wi-Fi to
Uh-oh,
see
I'm
if your
losing you.
connection is a little better.
Oh boy.
Anthony. Maybe the no
I'm off the
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi now. I'm off the Wi-Fi now. Is this a little
All right,
better?
we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
if this is better. Okay, yeah. Okay, so my
Yeah,
first
you
question.
asked my first event would Go Throw.
Yeah. What were like some of the positive takeaways, things you liked? What were maybe some things that you noticed that this is a little bit different than a Disc Golf Pro Tour event?
Yeah, it was it was super, like, everyone who was playing the tournament pretty much hung out the whole week like we did. The field events before the tournament was like really fun. We did like a King of the Hill uphill distance contest. We did an accuracy challenge and then a bunch. And that was fun because like every single person was playing that was events.
Oh no.
Just casual and I don't know.
Can't hear anything you're saying at all.
All right,
Can't hear a thing you
Mike,
say.
we
my
might have to put you to your test. Mike, see if this works because I think if you just have AB audio, it might be better than trying to get his video too. I don't know if you can swing that or make that figure that out, but I think we might have to just go audio for AB to see if that works. Also, Yuli, 61% of the viewers say your team is better. 38% say my team is better. So almost double the votes.
Let's put it on underdog.
Hey, can you guys get off the Wi-Fi real quick? See if it gets better. Is anyone even on the Wi-Fi? All right, we'll see. We're getting cooked over here.
Oh boy.
Wait, stand where you were. I can hear you.
No, I'm not going to stand there.
Yeah, just stand in the room with everyone else right now.
Yeah, they're all out there.
And tell them just to listen to you as you're on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. We're in the middle of nowhere, and we
Right
just
now
have
you're
this
good.
Wi-Fi.
Right now you're
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
So you
right?
did the field events, that you did a King of the Hill, you did an accuracy
Yeah.
challenge. Everybody's there doing it. It was super fun. That's where you cut out.
Yeah, and then the tournament, it was like I feel like just the way the course is like upkept, it felt like we were playing like a major, honestly. Just the like vibes around the whole place. The green grass just cut perfectly everywhere. All the OB stakes. Like the property is amazing.
It might be a tough one to compare it to because of just how good the course is, which kind of shows you at the end of the day, if you have a really solid course, you don't really need to put all the glitz and glamour around it. The course kind of speaks for itself a little bit. So what are some things, because whenever people go and play Eagles Crossing, I haven't heard really anyone claim like this course sucks. Like, I don't like how it plays, or it's not fair. So like, what are things that Eagle Crossing does that you would love to see maybe in other courses that we play on tour?
Yeah, I mean, just the perfectly manicured grass in the woods fairways is just, it makes a world of difference on the course. Like, there's not really like a bunch of twigs on the ground and stuff like that. Like, it's all pure lush grass in the fairways in the woods. And that's like, and just the vastness of like the tee pads, they're so huge. They're the biggest tee pads I've ever seen. They have like a green tint. It's not painted. It's like actual green concrete, and it's so grippy. It's so good. And then the driving range is huge. Like
Driving range is awesome.
Yeah, 6 tee pads, and the driving range is so fun. I don't know. It just feels like even when you drive into the place, it feels like you're going to some kind of high level golf like country club. It's crazy. It's so cool.
What are your thoughts on the actual like course layout, the way the holes play out there, the risk reward shots that they have? It's not a course that you're showing up saying, hey, I got to shoot double digits every single day to be able to win this tournament. Did you like how the course played that way?
Yeah, I did like that because it like it just makes the risk reward even like a little bit harder. But obviously, there's like, I think there's 4 holes that need to be tweaked a little bit before we have an actual major there. Before the course is like great, but 14 of the 18 holes are absolutely perfect, and I wouldn't change them.
Yeah, and we're getting a look right now of the practice facility, which is just super nice. And then you have all the statue lining. I believe that's hole
yeah.
10. Is that 10 on the right?
That's hole 1.
Oh, they changed it.
Yeah, they changed the layout a little bit.
I like that. Hole 1 kind of sucked. If as far as like a starting hole goes, what
it was bad.
what is that hole now? Is that towards the end?
What hole was it? I don't remember.
Oh, hole 1 is the water's all on the right-hand side, and hole 15, Gary said. Okay, 15. Yeah, par 3, water on the right.
Oh yeah,
OB on the
the one on the rock.
Yep. Yeah, I like that as
Yeah.
15. That's a much better hole as 15 than a 1. We showed, I think me and Ezra played the course together, and we showed up early in the morning, ripping wind, super cold, and we're like, this is what we have to start our round with? Like, what the heck? I think we both threw like 6 shots and not a single one landed in bounds. So, yeah, love that as 15. Thoughts on the new baskets? That was a big thing talked about this tournament. The new gateway baskets.
They catch everything. The chains are heavy, so you can really slam it in there. And I like how there's no nubs on the basket. It makes for some pretty interesting kicks. And like off the tray, like the last round, Gannon had his putt on like hole. I forgot how it's been super launched into the middle of the lake. It was hilarious. I couldn't believe it. We laughed about that after the round, but yeah, it's interesting how some stuff can happen like that, because now it's like kind of like a lip out in golf where it can get that momentum and give you an even farther putt away. I like it a lot. I think it's fun.
One thing that I would love to see is, I think from a viewer standpoint, I think it's very satisfying when baskets have the band at the top, when putts hit the band. Like, it's just a very, obviously none of us like that, but from a viewer, like, it's satisfying to be like, oh, like that was a brick. I almost would love to see, it might look weird, but I almost would love to see like a full covered basket, so you get the same feeling of putts that are low, is you get that real clank when you go low. Because I do think, like, as a spectator, I don't know, it's just like if you have a pressure putt and then you just clank it off the bottom or you clank it off the band, like that noise just resonates. And with this basket not having nubs, I think it also would look really, really clean. So we'll see. Was there any talks on, potentially seeing more of this basket in tournaments coming up?
I don't think so. I think that was the first time they ever used them. That's something I heard, but I haven't heard anything else about it.
Okay.
What about the tournament in general? So different than the Pro Tour, you don't have all like the Pro Tour banners and everything going around everywhere. And I heard like at one of the tournaments, like, people are drinking a little bit and people are having a good time just out there to enjoy it. But you're saying because of the prestige, everybody obviously wanted to play really well. But what was like the difference in atmosphere? Was it as professional, or was it a little more lackadaisical? Like you're out there having like more fun, or?
Yeah, it was like the first round, it was pretty lax. You could tell like to the earlier cards going out, like some people were doing whatever. But the final round, like everyone on the lead card was trying to win the tournament. So obviously it was a little more serious. I don't know what the people who were 12, 13 over were doing. Maybe they're having a little bit more fun, but we were all pretty serious and took it pretty seriously.
What was the crowd like out there? Because I know that is like one of the tough things about this course is it's in the middle of nowhere. I think like the nearest hotel's half an hour, 15, 20 minutes away, something like. There's not really that much stuff close to it. So did people show up?
There wasn't very many spectators. There's probably like maybe 100 the final day. It's so hard to get out there. Like we stayed 30 minutes away, like you said, in the hotel, but I don't really know how they promoted the tournament. Like I wasn't really looking into that at all. And then it was obviously Masters Sunday. Everyone wanted to watch Rory in the final groups, but yeah, there wasn't too many spectators, but I don't know.
Yeah, I always think that course needs to be almost like a pay-per-view like tournament. Like to me, it seems more of a, there's not gonna be that many people showing up to watch. Like I am curious, like if they had let's just say they had Worlds there, like people are gonna have to stay like an hour away. Like if a bunch of people came in, like a lot of those 30, like there's not that many hotels 30 minutes away. Like there might be people staying 45, 50 an hour. I don't know. I don't, to me, it just seems like a pay-per-view event, right? Where it's like people are going to watch it.
I think
more
they're
than be
actually
there.
clearing out a lot. They're actually clearing out a lot on the property to build a hotel, like right now.
No way. No,
Yeah.
I know they have those
So-
cabins on there, which are actually really nice.
Yeah, they have a couple cabins, and then I guess they're building a hotel. This is all hearsay. I don't know if this is confirmed.
That'd be wild just to have a full-on hotel there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you mentioned it. You brought up Rory. So I'm curious, you know, going into the Masters every year, everyone's asking, when is Rory going to get the Grand Slam? When is he going to win his first Masters? When he's going to win? Do you feel, you know, like, you know, you are now a prominent winner on tour. Are you feeling a little bit of that pressure from people now? Like asking, you know, when is AB going to win Worlds? Or like, do you feel that at all? If like now you're that player in disc golf of, hey, this is the best player right now that we have that hasn't done it yet?
It's like, it's to a point where like I don't think I need to put any more pressure on myself of like have to win a major. I just want to win another tournament at this point. It's just like, that's all I need to do is just focus on winning again. Like if it's the Worlds, if it's next week, this week, I mean, I think adding pressure to yourself like that is just, it's not going to help me at all. So it's just like, I just need to focus on the next week and win the next tournament I can.
I like it. I like it. Another thing I wanted to talk about too is, you know, I texted you this earlier about it because I wanted to hear it from you before we said anything about it. But since you're on here with us tonight, you know, the thing that was trying to, you know, set this tournament apart was like the big purse, $50,000, right? And we saw them promoted a lot. Turns out that it wasn't $50,000. The winner didn't take home. I believe it was initially reported as $25,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of that has to do with just, you know, certain funding maybe falling through. But this wasn't a buy-in, right? This was an invitational. No players had to pay to get into the tournament. So do you think this is a potential good strategy? Like, is this something that they can do? Is disc golf at the point where they can have big purses without, you know, half the money coming from players' buy-ins?
I don't know. I think I heard that the purse got cut because he didn't get like all of the players that he wanted to play the tournament. But we were made aware of that well before the tournament even happened. So we already knew what we were getting to and that it was going to get cut. But I mean, yeah, I would have been down to pay $300, $350 for the entry fee. But I don't know if some of the players would have wanted to do that because it was like, I don't know, it was like an invite thing. Everyone felt, I don't know, they really took care of us, and it was just like, it felt like he just wanted to do it for the players, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's just, that's the easiest way to kind of make these purses bigger is just getting the people that are actually in it paying some of the money. So are you planning on playing any more Go Throw events this year?
I think the only other one I'm going to do is the Failure Lake because I love that course.
Where is that one at?
Pennsylvania.
That's in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Was that where they had a
Pennsylvania.
wraparound event one year?
I think they had.
Was that where like did Connor O'Reilly win that, or
No, I think
Luke
that's what was that.
Sampson?
No.
Is that? Am I thinking
No.
of a different course? What am I thinking of?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're thinking of
something else.
Virginia.
Oh, I don't think I've ever played this course then, or heard of this course.
No, this place is awesome.
Have you guys
It's
just
really
played
fun.
like A-tier events and stuff there?
I've never played it.
Yeah, I played-
I've seen it.
Skins match, and then there was like a little, I think it was a B tier last year that I played in.
Oh, is it near something else that we play? That's why you were up there, or did you just
It's on
go
the
there?
drive from D-Glow to GMs or Green Mountain Championships. It's like right on the way.
Gotcha. So you stopped in to do some video there. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's sweet. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to kind of see because obviously I think this one's probably their premier event. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what your thoughts are going to one of their other events and can kind of comparing it between the two, because the way I view right now is like their views are pretty good. Like I was actually a little bit surprised to see how many people are watching this thing. I want to say
what about the other ones?
Let me see. Let me pull up some numbers here. So, I mean, because obviously, yes, this is going to be a big one with the Eagles Crossing. But yeah, final round already is over 100,000 for the front nine. It was 130,000 for round one.
Wow.
Then
Dang,
looking at the PRC, it was 116,000 for round one, 70,000 for the back nine, 88,000 for round two front nine, and then the one that where was this one? FNL. Yeah, I mean the first round for the first day are all getting over 100,000 views at every tournament. All three. I think there's only been 3 tournaments, and each one got over 100,000 views for the first round. So I don't know. I think that's a lot more than I would have thought. That's a lot of freaking people.
Yeah, that is a lot.
So now how do you obviously YouTube ad monetization's great, but it's not really going to pay the bills. So like how do you monetize that? That's the question. And they're not going the subscription route that the Disc Golf Network's going. So we'll see what goes on. But yeah, what's your kind of take on it? I guess big picture. Do you think both the Go Throw Tour and the Disc Golf Pro Tour can kind of live harmoniously together, or do you think there may be a time and place where they say like, hey, this isn't working anymore?
I think they can live together for right now, just because it's like it's two like way different vibes Go Throw's going for right now. It's like perfect. It's pretty casual. They got some money. They get some of the best players to come play these tournaments, and it's like it's almost like an off week until you're like in the mix to win, and then it gets serious. But it was like so peaceful and relaxing just to be out there and play some disc golf. I don't know, but for the Pro Tour, it's a lot more stressful.
Did you talk to any of the guys? Is having this not PGA sanctioned and not having to worry about your rating? Did anyone bring that up as like it's kind of nice just to be able to go out and play and not have to worry about what my rating's going to be and what it's going to do to my to my PGA rating? Was that ever discussed among anyone?
I don't really think we talked about that much. We were just out there. Like, I guess the ratings don't really matter too much when you're like battling for a win, but I don't know. I guess that Isaac shot 14 over. I don't know if maybe he didn't care about the rating anymore.
I mean, I do just wonder if that is also something that's nice too, because if you're super far over par, like, or some people are still battling to the very end, and slow play is also, how has slow play, I guess, been? That's a good question to kind of segue to. How has that still been kind of an issue this year at tournaments?
I mean, not too much that I've seen like last week, because we had the tee time so far spread apart, but I did see there was a person in particular who held up like 5 cards at Music City Open.
We talked about him a little bit.
From finishing their round, so they had to come back in the morning. But I mean, other than that, I haven't really heard too much about it.
Gotcha. You got anything for AB?
No. Sounds
Sweet.
great. Yeah, congrats on the win. 7,500, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess last question. I think we got to start asking this. because, betting is now in disc golf. How are you feeling going into this next tournament? People out there, are we slamming the under on you, or like what are we doing here?
I just played the course today for the first time, and there's a lot of shot shaping, like force over flex with overstable discs, and that's like one of my favorite shots to throw. And this course reminds me a lot of Des Moines Challenge course. It's pretty similar in that way, so I think I'm going to play pretty good this week.
Hard, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's demanding.
All right, we do have a question from Gary. He wants to know, are you going left or right gap on hole 15?
15. What is hole 15?
Yuli, do you know hole 15? Can you
I
describe
can't
it?
remember what hole that is.
I don't even, I can't
It's
help it.
I think it's the little one over the water, right?
Oh, is that 15?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna go left gap, like turnover.
Yeah, you got to just try to make it.
People
Yeah,
are
that's
saying
the only side about.
people are asking for a water skip shot. All right, we're not gonna partake in that. We're not partaking in that. But all right, well, hey, congratulations on your win. Maybe continue to work on that jump shot, because there might be a 5-on-5 game in the future. You never know. But go enjoy your evening. Good luck this week, man. Appreciate you jumping on tonight.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys. We'll see you
Take it
later.
easy,
Yeah.
bud. All right, AB coming off of his win over at Eagles Crossing at the Go Throw event. All right, I think it's time, Yuli. Let's bring the boys in, Gary and Mike, because I'm really excited for our last segment here. The Masters just went down this past week. Biggest golf tournament of the year, just as far as maybe eyeballs, prestige. Heck, people are dropping on average $2,500 when they go there on the merch. It is nuts. Kelsey is, I think she's just now made it a goal that she wants to go once. So she's doing the lottery every year. I think we're 0 for 2 so far. But you never know. So we got Gary with us. We got Mike as well. And we're going to talk a little master takeaways, Yuli. I want to hear, what are some things, because again, let's not take everything that golf is doing. Some things golf are doing, like live golf, let's let golf do that, right? But I think we can look at some things that golf is doing, especially on the production side, and say, hey, maybe disc golf could learn a thing or two. And maybe these are some things that we would love to see. So who wants to start first? Mike, Gary, either one of you guys got any good points right off the rip?
I think PDGA Mike has a point.
Sure. So my biggest takeaways are the commentary for these golf tournaments.
Jim Nantz
Are so
Trevor
good.
Emmerman.
They're so much better. And it's because they do less. They just do less. When Rory made his putt, there was no commentary for 50 seconds. When Tiger won in 2019, made the putt, they said something like, we never thought we'd see this again, and then nothing. Crickets while he shakes hands, walks through the tunnel, embraces with his family, just crowd noise and him. That's it. And to take up commentary is very important, but we're watching the players. We're not watching for the commentary. The commentary needs to be the secondary. It needs to help tell the story. It doesn't need to be the story. And I think the thing I think about the most, and it just reminded me of it, was the holy shot. Jomez posted the holy shot with no commentary, and it's the best 4 minutes of disc golf content that's ever been made. You hear the crowd, you see the reactions, you're not hearing any distractions, you're not hearing the commentators wailing in disbelief and saying, I wish I was there, and talking over the crowd. So you can't even hear the crowd. It's just pure emotion. And to me, that's the biggest thing. I mean, there's a bunch of things I wrote down we can talk about, but that's the biggest thing for me, is just And I know obviously we're comparing people who've only done it for a few years, and this isn't what their job is compared to people that's all they do. But I think if they and post-production is a whole different thing. It's not the same compared to live. Like, it needs to be two different styles. But I think if these live commentators want to really elevate the experience for watchers, like, they need to watch other sports, specifically golf, because it does need to be a little bit slower paced. You shouldn't be just screaming. Like in basketball or football, they're more exciting. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of chatter and noise going on that probably doesn't need to be happening.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, and Yuli, I would love to hear your opinion on this. Like, I don't think Jomez commentary should try to match the live commentary that you see from like a disc golf course, like, or from a like a PGA event. Like, to me, like when I'm watching Jomez, and I think when a lot of people are watching Jomez, it's like a watch along. It's like I'm sitting down with you guys and we're watching it together, and we're like friends watching it, and you guys are just talking, right? I think that works really, really well for that. But I think a lot of the commentators that do live kind of get that mixed in a little bit, of where it's like we always have to be talking. And I don't know. I think sometimes people are like 3 seconds of awkward silence, and they're like, someone's got to say something, and they say something that wasn't necessary because they just felt like they had to say something. So I would love to see that. I'm with you on that. I would love to see less for sure. And then the other obviously big thing here with the commentary is like they use their on-course people so well. Like, the on-course people are the ones that are saying everything. And then Trevor Immelman will say something like, this putt doesn't go left. This has to be inside the hole, because he's been there. He's won the tournament. He knows what he's talking about. But they really let the on-course people talk about the lie, talk about how far he is, talk about what's going to happen. But Gary, what else are some of the other things we got on here?
Well, I think
before you go, I wanted to compare, because you're right. They're two completely different things. And post-production is all cut up. It's fast-moving pace. You have to keep up with everything, and you have to keep going really, really fast. So obviously that's the difference. And you're right. As far as live goes, I've only done it a few times, and I did it early in my commentating career, so I wasn't that good. But I remember it specifically that let it breathe is one of the things that I really wanted to do, and not really talk a lot. And we were two amateurs. I did it with my brother one time in the very beginning years of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But another problem with all of that stuff is on the production side with Trevor and all of those guys, their studio, their atmosphere, the level of presentation of what the story is that they're getting is probably on a whole different level as well, and very organized in a way. And when you have organized situations like that, you are then going to be more organized. So we got to remember that as well, because it's not like, they're probably in a closet at a hotel room like doing this, if we're really thinking about it. And
sometimes they are, though, which is actually a little surprising. Corn Ferry, but
yeah, right, but not at the Masters, right?
No. And I think that this is probably just as much on the production as the commentators.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
A big point of it is like, when you don't have great audio of the players talking, you don't have crowd audio that's very loud, or you can't even hear it at all sometimes. Then there's just literally, I mean, if we didn't get to hear all the cheering in the Masters, we need someone to say something, like if it was just quiet, right? So that's a big problem too, where it's like, it would be awkward as is right now. And that's why I think having player audio, or maybe figuring out how to get the levels different so you can hear the background noise, whether it's nature or the audience, I think that would be a lot easier, so they don't feel like they have to say something.
Who's got pumping fake crowd noise?
Yes, but my next point is one that I think people could learn from. I think knowing the player and knowing their style and knowing their tendencies and the way that they approach the course, their mindset, who they are as a person as far as on the course, that's what these guys do really well. Because they're watching them tournament to tournament, but they're also former players, but they're also really good at organized speech You know what I mean? Like it's very rare that they get caught up in a sentence to where they don't. And I think that's one of the reasons why people do like my commentary, because I don't pretend to be like this fluent in English, super talker. You know what I mean? I say what I see, and I think sometimes it gets into this really monotone of huh 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 huh, and then everybody's talking the same, and there's not different styles. I think that's a problem. But understanding the player, their tendencies, um, the holes, the bends, the tendency of the player not to be able to bend it at a certain distance is a story that doesn't get told a lot, and that is super important. If I get to a hole and Calvin throws and he late flips an eagle, it's a completely different shot than me having to late flip a different disc. And so it looks easy that he did it, but the story needs to be told that this is a more difficult shot for me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that's some of the intricate details of disc golf that separates the players, is where your disc is actually turning to hit a gap. How soft are you able to then land the disc? Like these are all stories that aren't really told that often. And I think it's because not a lot of people know, that's important. So those could be important facts and more things that people, especially on the live, could talk about, because we're so worried about making sure that we're nice to all the players. No,
Yeah.
it's a garbage shot. It's a garbage shot, but for some people it's not a garbage shot. That's not what they're good at. And so you have to be able, when Scotty misses a putt, they know he's not the greatest putter. And they'll sometimes say that. When somebody else misses a putt, it's like, oh, well, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's a story that needs
Yeah.
to be told. And that's okay. That's my 2 cents on that stuff, because I am a commentator and I'm passionate about it.
Gary,
I think
what do you got?
I think one of the biggest points, and first of all, Yuli, I'll point out something that I really like about your commentary, and I think Sexton Nate does a great job with this too, and that's not feeling the need to fill space all the time. And so when you do say something, it's more impactful because you're willing to sit, listen, and then give us something, which is a really, really crucial skill to have. But it goes down to a commentator's job, in my opinion, is always to set up the story of what we don't know, and let the things that we do know that we can, ascertain on our own by watching, let that stuff happen. I don't need you to tell me as a commentator why it's super important, and then if I miss it, go, oh, and then I get involved with the miss. I saw the miss happen. You did the job of building the story before it happened so that I knew what the complexity of that moment was for you. I think the closest we got to some decent bit of that this year was when we had the first cut line at like the Open at Austin, and they would kind of cut to the person and say, hey, if they miss this putt, they're not playing tomorrow. And so the
Good
person would
context,
putt, and then they would have to add on a bunch of extra stuff. You provided context that made it really great for us. Let us now live in the moment. And one of the things that they did really well was approaching the green, the walk up. They're talking about the significance of it. They're letting us know why it's a big deal, telling us the story about this would be such a huge thing for his career. And then they can sit back and they can just let it cook because they've done all the work. They've marinated the sauce for us, and it can speak for its own. But then when you cut to a thing like you said, like landing zones and landing areas, we as viewers, we don't know where the best place to be at on a course is. We don't know that that's just a little bit too far left, a little bit too far right. And so as a commentator, your job is then to take me by the hand and tell me why that spot is a good spot, why that spot is a bad spot. And when we have staff who don't know the course or don't know the players, it makes that really difficult. And so that's why I think, to Brodie's point, the person who's field is such a crucial element, because they're there. Maybe they're going and standing in the desired landing area. And so when a shot goes awry, they can be like, yeah, I'm here. And they're just way too far to the right. That's not going to work. And be willing to kind of call out the bad shot. So for me, what kind of training are people who are in commentary doing? And I know that we're asking a lot of a tour that has tons of things going on, but what are we doing to help get people on commentary ready for these moments? And at what point and I'll be critical of it. At what point do we start looking at commentators that we have on live and saying, maybe we need to make a change here or there? Maybe we need to give some constructive criticism on some things that could improve.
Yeah, and I think if you really want to boil it down, I think if you listen to the end of after Rory makes his putt for live, and then you listen to Mike Tirico's, who was on radio, and listen to his after Rory make a putt, I think a lot of what disc golf does is like the radio. So he's like telling us, Rory's on his knees, his hands are over his face, he can't believe it. And it's like, I see that. Like I'm able to watch that. I don't need it. Like, so I think less radio and more adding to it versus just describing what you see, I think would do better.
And I really think that the distances of the flights and the turns are something that we need to get better at, and myself included, because I've really thought about this, especially watching golf. They're talking about the lie. What's the lie look like? Is it wet? What's the wind? What's the carry? Where's the miss? Where's the really bad miss? The bunker's okay. You see what I mean? So they're describing what's good and what's bad. And in disc golf, we don't have any of that. We don't have a lie. We have shot shapes. That's the story. Is when is your disc supposed to turn? What obstacles are you supposed to miss? Where is the trouble? What's a good miss? What's a bad miss? And what's a horrible shot? And those are the things that you have to do. And if you describe that beforehand, which is really tough on post produce because you got to go. But if you describe that beforehand, bad shot, you can let it breathe.
Yeah,
because you already told them.
And I think the courses definitely need to get better to help the commentators out, because when we play these courses where you can land the disc anywhere in a 300-foot radius and it's a good shot, it's tough.
Well, that's golf in general. They hit a drive. If they landed on the short stuff, typically it's pretty good. But sometimes it's not. Like you see them in the fairway, and now like they have to hit a cut shot around all the stuff.
Or their ball,
it's really
the ball's
rare.
gonna be above their a ball is gonna be above their lie or whatever. So yeah,
that's something I had written down too that I noticed for the Masters they did really well is the fairways are pretty wide. They narrowed them recently, but they were quick to let people know, like, yes, this is on the fairway, but now, Scheffler likes to play a fade, and he's going to have to draw this in to get to the landing zone he needs. And this is going to be if you're just watching, it's like, oh, it's in the fairway, that must be good. And they're letting you know, well, actually, like, he's kind of cut off here.
Yeah.
And that's knowing his game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I want to point out again. Like, that's them knowing he has a tendency to do this. And that's something that's never explained. Like, I have a tendency to pull my disc to the right. That's something that people should look at if I was ever on coverage. When I get nervous, I pull my shots to the right. And so trouble on the right could be really bad for me. And that's a story that if I miss left, there's why. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's under control. He has his nerves set up. You can then go into a whole nother realm of possibilities of commentating. But anyways.
Yeah. No, I love it. Another thing that stuck out to me, we got a playoff. Everyone loves a good old playoff in disc golf. The person that might like a playoff the most in disc golf is the tournament director, because the tournament director gets to run up on the first tee pad and go, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to a playoff between Calvin Heinberg and Gannon Burr. They'll be playing holes 15, 16, and 17. And if you notice at the Masters, that didn't happen. There was someone there, a green jacket was there. He was talking to both Rose and Rory about, I'm sure, who's going first, what hole, whatever. He probably said a little bit, and then he walked away. The commentators, they told the audience, hey, this is what's happening. This is what they're playing. If they tie on 18, they're going to go to 10. And again, like, it's just a small thing, but it's something that, like, it just takes away. Like, I don't know. To me, like, seeing that in disc golf, I always get like, ugh. But I just think it was a much classier, more professional way. So that was another takeaway I have. Who's got another one?
I think to that, just to be fair to disc golf, this probably isn't the tournament we should be looking to like make comparisons to, because it's like the most, like, the commentators are trained. They're not allowed to say rough. They're not allowed to say fans. They say patrons. They say second cut instead of rough.
Well, it's the most professional of all the professional ones. Yeah.
Just
It's
like
the most professional event.
But you
this-
gotta
like, if
aim
you
for
can-
the
if
top.
you
You gotta
if
aim
you
for the
compare
top.
if you compare the Masters to the RBC Heritage or whatever it's called, like, you'd notice big differences between those two just
For
within
sure.
the same sport.
For
So,
sure.
but you're right. It's great to strive, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that suggestion's not like a crazy suggestion. It's just like, hey, TD, just talk to the people involved in the tournament. You don't have to make everyone look at you and be
Have a
the
supporting
center.
staff tell after the camera's away and they're going, hey, everybody, let's slowly move this way. This is where the playoff's going to be.
Sure.
I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when they're on hole 15's tee pad. We're playing hole 15. Yeah, we're here. We get it.
One of the things that I really liked is the no phones.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
big time.
that's
The
incredible.
no phones is insane. I mean, talk about an engaged fan base. They're all about golf, 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 and that's it. Well, no wonder they're spending $2,500. They don't have anything to do. They're not on their phones.
Yeah,
Where's-
the no phones definitely makes for a way more engaging audience too, which
Mhm.
I think is awesome.
I see a comment here they're mentioning, and I know you guys have talked about this before, but same with running up with the trophy immediately after putting out.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I agree with that, and I've always been so hard against it. But like, I don't know when out. Like, people aren't sticking around to make it interesting half an hour later for a disc golf tournament.
But not that many people stick around for golf either. Like a lot of the people leave after. But it's like,
Yeah,
to me, it's like
Yeah.
you got to sign the scorecard. That's my big thing. Is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
person has not won the tournament yet until they actually sign their scorecard. And I'm just waiting for the day that someone announces the winner, hands them the trophy, they turn an incorrect scorecard in, they get a 2-stroke penalty, and they don't win. Like, I'm waiting for that day so they can stop that because it's so stupid.
They do the interviews right after the round with the winner
Before
now
they
on
even
the-
sign the scorecard.
on the PGA Tour. They do on the green. They'll go over there and they do an interview. They do it. They didn't do it at the Masters. They might not do it at the biggest tournaments, but they for sure 100% do at PGA tournaments. Then they go and they do their scorecard and they sign it, but they get the raw emotion right away after they win.
And then they do the award ceremony after the
Yeah,
fact.
and the award ceremony is a completely different thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between we don't have to go from running on to the green right away and taking 20 or 30 minutes, but if we're organized in the way we do it, I think it can take a couple of minutes and still be fine. And still you can
Yeah.
get your scorecard to finalize and whatnot. You can build up the moment. And that's where like other event staff come into play. Like you said, Yuli, is that maybe while they're doing that, there's event staff letting everyone know, hey guys, they're finalizing their scorecard. They're going to be right back out here. Let's stick around. You know, it's just that kind of thing.
And
But
there-
you also
and there
remember
needs-
the fan base is different.
I 100% agree. There has to be an awards ceremony. You just did all of this work. You should have a stage to where you go up on the stage and you have time to collect your thoughts, to be able to thank the people that you want, to let it kind of sink in, get their raw emotion right away. What are you feeling? Those type of things. And then sign your scorecard, you get the thing, and then you're able to, thank the fans, thank your sponsors, thank all those people and all of those things. I think that would probably be best case scenario.
It makes me think of Ledgestone because Ledgestone is one of those places where they do kind of have that. They've got the stage set up there at Eureka Temp. They put the big scorecard up with everyone. You can kind of follow along. And even though not every single person who's on the course comes out for that trophy ceremony, it is really cool to have it up on the stage, the trophy lifted. For the people there, and I'd love to know, like, for the players themselves, like, if you've received a trophy in the middle of, circle on the green or compared to up there on the stage, I'm willing to bet that moment makes a big deal to them. It adds that sort of like, I want to walk to the trophy ceremony. I want to walk up the steps and I want to hoist that trophy up over the crowd. no matter how big it is. I want to be the person who does that.
Yep.
Another one that I had that really jumped out at me, and it's just the court. I get it. Disc golf is never going to be as challenging as golf. I understand it. We're throwing something in our hand. We're not hitting something hitting a ball with something in our hand. Those two things are drastically different. I understand that. However, there are still things I believe that disc golf can do on a course side that could make high risk and high reward shots that make the drama way higher. The common phrase at the Masters is like, you haven't won the Masters until the back nine, right? Like that back stretch of 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, that back stretch, we have seen players crumble, literally losing 4-shot leads in the last
big shot lead. Jordan Spieth back nine.
Yeah, with just crazy crumbling. And the reason for that is the pressure and the shots that are trying to be required. I mean, we saw Rory on 13. That was probably one of the worst shots I think I've ever seen Rory hit. Like he legitimately missed his landing zone from an 80-yard shot. He missed the landing zone by like 40 feet, 50 feet. So bad. And that only happens when you have pressure, but then you also have, hey, you mess this shot up, you get punished. So to me, that's force carries. Do I have what it takes to throw this disc over this force carry? Now, obviously, we don't have all the beautiful water. We can't make lakes. We can't do any of that. So we have to kind of USDGC it a little bit and make fake force carries with OB. And if we want to put rocks around it to make it look a little bit better, whatever. But we need force carries, a lot of them. Other thing that I think I would love to see, whether you want to put sand in the bunkers or not, but these guys that aren't hitting the fairways with their drives, if they land in a bunker, they know they have to lay up. On 13, if you hit in a bunker off your tee shot, you're not being able to go to the green. You have to lay up. The bunkers are too deep. So I would love to see some of that. Show me some like off the fairways or on the fairways flat. And then you get off the fairway, give me a couple like holes, like big holes that you kind of fall in. And now you're having to like throw up. And now you're putting pressure on maybe like a roller to try to get up there, but that's a big one. The other thing I would love to see, obviously, Mandos. You guys know I'm a huge component of Mandos, more Mandos, more Mandos, more Mandos. And then the last thing is show me some trickier, fast greens. Give me something where if you land on the left side of a green, that disc is gone, right? Like you better be landing on the right side because like 12, if you go at the back, if you watch all the players that were hitting good shots on 12, just right over the bunker, right over the bunker, right over the bunker. And the reason for that is if you go at the pin, Sunday pin location on 12, and you are short by like 5 feet or by 5 feet, you are rolling back into that water. The bunker's not there to save you. And I'd love to see that. Like, I'd love to see a green where it's like, if you hit short or if you hit left or you hit long, you're dead. Like, it's gone. And that puts a lot more pressure. That puts a lot more pressure on those shots versus, I can just throw it anywhere 60 feet from the basket and be fine.
I got a really good one that I took from it. And nobody does this in disc golf. And I don't know if they even do it in golf besides the Masters. And that is branding. The branding a tournament with the green. Like it is everywhere there. You got everything's green and white. That's what they do, right? And I don't know how you would do that, but I think that that's a fantastic way to sell merch because you take it from the Masters and you have Masters green. Everybody knows what that is. They know what the brand is. I don't know what tournament has the capability of doing that.
I think USDGC has that a little bit right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about even the color, like the color of your merch, the green shirts, the
That's
green
tough. Yeah.
shorts, the green everything. It's a green branding. I think that even maybe Maple Hill could do this and they could play into the Christmas tree thing. And it could be a really like maybe even a festive tournament to where people go there and the patrons are festive or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean with as far as the branding. And then when you leave there, you take something, you take a present home or something. You get what I mean? Like with like branding a certain tournament to be able to sell a bunch of merch and for people to then be like, oh, I can't wait to go there to get my blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Ugly
You know what I mean?
sweater
It's a
Saturday would be electric at Maple Hill. Everyone in
you know,
ugly sweaters.
Winner gets a
do
Christmas
you
tree.
get what I'm saying? I think that that type of tournament that has
Yeah, I
so
don't
much
hate it.
hype around the course because it's the best course in the world. I mean, you could even have like Turf Tuesdays where you're throwing down the gravel road or something. You know, no, I'm just kidding, but you get my point. I think branding is something that they do incredible there, and you said $2,500 minimum per patron. That's
I
insane.
think that was like on average. There was someone that did like they were interviewing people as people were walking out, and then people are just $6 grand, 10 grand, 8 grand, 1,500, 4,000. Like people are spending insane amounts of money.
And you're not spending that at a different place. It's the branding of the place that you do that. And I think that like a Maple Hill has that possibility of doing that.
It's a good point because like most of the majors, like I went out to the Open. It's actually going back there. I went out when it was at Port Rush. That's where it's going this year. And like their merch tent was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And they've got like the little trophy, right? The claret jug, I believe. And
Yep.
then they just have like the year and like, or they have like the nice script that says the Open, right? And like people are going nuts for that. And I think right now the only course I can think of that people go nuts for like merch is USDGC. I think that's the
Yeah.
only one that people are like, I need to get a USDGC disc. I need to get a hat. I need to get it, So I don't hate that. I think that's on the tournament for sure to try to get a little bit because
brand it and then hammer it out.
Because like think about Ledgestone. Ledgestone's like a massive tournament. They don't really do a good job of this because they have a lot of merch and they sell a lot of discs, but they're all like different stamps and different, there's not like
This is the Ledgestone stamp.
Yeah.
A branding, a logo, or whatever.
Yeah, because the one year they leaned really heavily into like the red, white, and blue thing. There's a lot they could have done with that to really, because all the baskets are red, white, and blue. The bags they were giving out to people were red, white, and blue. Could have done a lot with that there. I heard a good comment from someone, different creator, talking about how Winthrop gold, and they don't lean into the gold concept as much as they could for like USDGC.
I think part of the problem with that is like there's a team of people already working on the Masters for next year. And there's too many people who run these events or do things that are just focused on one event. They're focused on a bunch of different things. So that makes it a little bit harder, but you could do it
the whole year. You could do it the whole year and you could start, it's about setting trends.
I mean, Worlds need something, right? If you're gonna have Worlds every year, it shouldn't
the
be
fact that they don't sell globes.
Like it shouldn't be a new
wild.
like it should be a new design every single year. Like there should be something that that if you were there for whatever. But any other takeaways from the Masters, guys? You guys got anything else?
I mean, I think the last thing that I would say is just the rich tradition that they have. That's something that we can't have yet because we don't have a lot of old. I mean, just having somebody like Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus teeing off of hole 1 and they're walking it on the fairway. That's a moment. You know what I mean? That we might be able to create, but they've been there for so long, and those are like the grandfathers of golf. You know what I mean?
Well, I was just gonna say too. I think the one thing with what you just mentioned, right? There's so many different layers of things going on at like a tournament at the Masters, where like for me, like those guys hitting it off and stuff like that doesn't do it for me. Like, am I going to watch when Tiger does it for the first time? Probably. But like, to me, like if I got there, I probably wouldn't show up there to watch it. Doesn't do anything for me, but a bunch of people love it. And there's just so many, like the merch. I'm probably, maybe I'll get a hat if I go, but like that doesn't do it for me. A bunch of people love that. The pimento cheese at like a crazy value, that really doesn't do anything for me, but I bet a bunch of people love it too. Like there's so many different things at the Masters that there's something like there's got to be multiple things for multiple people that like, I love this, I love this, I love this. Where again, we're not nearly anywhere in the same atmosphere, but like when you go to a disc golf tournament, it's pretty much just like you're going, like you just watch disc golf. There's not really like anything else built around it, you know?
I think the only thing that we have that's close, that could even come close to be doing any of this stuff, is the USDGC, because
That's
it's
the
been
only
around
one,
for so long. It's at the same spot every single time. People love it. You got
That
what
par
is it?
3 course is sick.
The walk up the hill should be called something, whatever
Yep.
that is. It should be, there should be a name. Hey, there's nothing like walking up, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't have a name.
Hopefully they still have like that food truck circle that they did the other year, because like that was sick. Like that's something that can be like something that,
I think
is
this
consistent.
is something that I brought up on debate night earlier, is that we forget oftentimes that disc golf is only as old as like the 70s, and golf has been around since the 1500s and even before. We're an infant when it comes to as a sport, and so we almost find the need sometimes to like force traditions, or we worry about that, but those get built over time, and we just haven't been at it long enough yet. And one of the things that we have to shake, especially in the disc golf community, is we like to try a lot of things, and then when they don't work out the exact way we want, we just drop it right away. Sometimes things have to be built into. There are definitely traditions that probably started a long time ago in golf and other sports that seemed weird at the time, but now they're beloved by so many people. So I think we keep working on that, but USDGC is definitely one of them, because when I think about the merch, people talk about, oh, I have the USDGC commemorative disc from this year and this year and this year and this year. They're giving something for people to collect and want to be at. To do something like that for Worlds would be really, really incredible, to say, oh, I've got the Worlds disc from 2024 when this happened, and 2023 when this happened. I got the Worlds disc when James Conrad threw it in from X number of feet. Just give people something to latch onto.
Maple Hill has actually a pretty good tradition that they've got going, is you jump into the lake after you win. That's actually a pretty good one.
Yep.
That's why Kristen doesn't win there. She doesn't want to jump into the lake.
Oh, I'll take. Yeah, she can't win there, I guess, right? All right. Did we miss anything else, guys? Any other stories? I think chat's pretty happy with us tonight. I think we hit mostly everything. Getting ready for Kansas City. We'll be back next week, guys. Talk all about that. We'll try to have the winners on, maybe a couple other guys that maybe pop up. Have a good tournament. Yuli, good luck out there, brother.
Thank you.
Hopefully you survive the storms. Gary, Mike, always pleasure. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to both our guests, Jeff Spring and AB tonight. Thank you to everyone that joined us live tonight and everyone that's listening to us after the fact. We appreciate all you, and we hope you all have a great week. See you next week, guys.
Yep.